We've got 25 of the most upvoted Am I the A-hole Reddit stories for the month of June. Yes, we bumped that up from our normal 15 stories to 25 stories. Now, it may look like I'm working harder for you guys to get out more stories for you, but I would never bamboozle you like that. The real reason is, as you guys know in these videos, I have repeat stories because obviously throughout the month, I read Reddit stories and make those into videos, so it's just natural when I tally up the most upvoted for those months, I end up having some overlapping stories. This month, I kind of went hard on Am I the A-hole? We came out with a lot of videos, and if I had made it just 15 most upvoted, there would have maybe been like 4 new stories, and I can't do that to you guys. I would never want you guys to feel like I'm wasting your time by only including 4 new stories. So we bumped it up to 25. There are now 8 brand new stories, as well as a bonus story. I don't know how this happened. Like, genuinely zero clue, but I read an extra story. Don't know why. It just happened. So let's just say I included that at the end of the video out of the goodness of my own heart, not because I'm an idiot. And you know what? If we get 100 new subscribers on this video, I will do that on future most upvoted videos for you guys. That's right, bonus stories all around. And you get a bonus story, and you get a bonus story. Hit that subscribe button, drop a comment below. Y'all know the drill. Let's lock in here and read some Reddit. Am I the a-hole for calling out my brother's selective poverty? My brother suddenly called me last week in a panic asking for a loan to cover an emergency surgery. I love my brother, so I naturally agreed and loaned him the money so he could pay the bill in full. But not before calling him out that if he could afford taking his family to a vacation in Europe, he should have an emergency fund to cover his own medical bills, instead of treating me like a bank. He was defensive, but took the money anyway. I thought that was the end of it, but today things took a weird turn. In our family group chat, I saw my brother and his wife discussing plans to apply for the hospital's charity case, benefits specifically reserved for low-income and impoverished families. Remember, I already loaned him the money to pay the bill in full. So your brother's a bad person. When I called him out in the chat for trying to game the system and take resources away from people who actually need them, the family turned on me. Now I'm being painted as the villain for policing their finances, being heartless during a medical crisis, and bringing up the vacation again. I already gave them the money, but I refuse to pretend their behavior is okay. Am I the a-hole? What the hell? I mean, the brother basically committed fraud, right? Because he's trying to game the system so that the money that his sister loaned him, he can just spend on something else when he asked for the loan specifically to pay the hospital bill. Is this family on crack? That is insane activity from your family, bro. Not the a-hole, don't lend them money again, though. Yeah. I mean, I'm just more surprised at, like, the family members. Like, why is the family so pressed about OP being mad that they loan the money for something that they are trying not to actually pay for? It's giving a little bit of golden child. If I had to put money on it, that's probably what's happening here. Am I the a-hole? I don't want custody of my sister's 3 kids. Posted 27 days ago, Tuesday, June 2nd, 2026. I, 29 female, have 1 kid, 11 female. My sister, 32 female, has 3 kids, 11 female, 8 female, 6 female. The oldest is also autistic. About 3 years ago, my sister lost custody of her kids. The girls were split up in the system for a little over a year before our mom, 52 female, got custody 2 years ago. Over the last 2 years, the girls have been really thriving. They're happy, healthy, doing well in school. Recently, my mom got unexpected health issues that are severely impacting her mobility and energy. There's no cure. She called me last week to ask if I would take the girls so they aren't split up in the system again. My heart sank. I love my nieces. There's no denying that. And my daughter loves her cousins. The kids all get along great. They live on the opposite side of the country, but I visit whenever possible. I'm always planning all sorts of activities and experiences for them and encouraging them to pursue the things they love. The oldest loves art. The middle child loves gymnastics, and the youngest loves Pokemon and video games. I plan things we can all do together, and I make sure they each get one-on-one time too. I would die for these girls, but I just don't have the means to care for them full time. My husband and I are considered a low-income family. After a decade of saving, we finally bought a small 2-bed townhouse, but there's barely enough room for the 3 of us, let alone another 3 kids too. Man, that's tough. I suggested my mom move closer so I can help more day to day, but she shot that down rather quickly. Her reasons were she didn't want to pull the kids out of their current school, but I guess it's okay if I do? Yeah, that's not a great compromise. And with her health issues, she didn't want to have to find a new doctor. That one is pretty valid, and there's a serious healthcare crisis in my country. Okay, yeah, I think that one has a little bit more merit, I'd say. Us moving closer to them is not an option. We would both have to find new jobs, and my husband's current job has really good benefits we can't afford to lose. My mom is retired, so the only thing tying her to her current location is her doctor. My heart is breaking. I don't want to lose my nieces to the system again. I love the relationship we have, but I don't see how I can sustainably take on the three of them full time. My mom and my sister have been calling me, okay, wait, hold on. The fucking sister? My mom and my sister have been calling me heartless and that I haven't fully thought it through, but I have. All right, I guess we don't know why the sister lost custody, but you don't just lose custody for absolutely nothing. So like, respectfully, fuck your sister. She can't understand the pressure that's been put on you here. I've been thinking about it every day for over 3 years when my sister first lost custody. Looks like the edit is some clarifications based on comments that OP got, so I'm gonna read that as well. Edit, the dad is not in the picture. He has 2 other kids from 2 other women that he has also walked out on. My sister is on drugs and living in a tent, in parentheses, but it's got a great view of the lake. And then the rolling eyes emoji. There's no other family that could help. Yeah, okay, so fuck your sister's opinion. My mother is also low income and her retirement funds barely cover their costs of living as is, but I will be definitely looking more into other resources and government funding. Thank you to those providing actual helpful advice and suggestions. I am not in the US. Okay, that's probably a good thing because the US probably wouldn't help you here or make it fucking miserable applying and eventually getting that months, if not years later. Man, this is a tough situation. I don't think OP's the a-hole. I think this is very much you have to make sure your mask is on fully before you can help other people put on their mask. I was gonna say no a-holes here, but it's kind of a dickhead move for your mom to be calling you heartless when like you're not heartless. You're just being realistic about the capacity of taking care of these children in a responsible manner. Like, I think it would be worse to take in these 3 kids and not be able to handle it well and give them a safe home. I think there are some solutions here, but I would definitely say there's probably not a perfect situation. Like in my head, OP isn't against bringing these kids in. It's just the fact that she can't take the kids in on her own that I think is keeping her from taking the kids in. So I want to lean into finding a solution that allows OP to take these kids in. And I think the only solution I can think of is the kids have to move to OP. Like, that's non-negotiable. And I think the mom needs to sell her house so that they can afford a bigger house for all of them to live in, including the mom, which would also mean that the mom would have to have a different doctor, which sucks, don't get me wrong, but I feel like that has to be the compromise here to make sure that these kids don't end up in the system again. Like, this is gonna be really fucked up of me to say, but like, there is no cure to the mom's mobility and energy. And like, this is probably shitty of me to say, but like, because there's no cure, I feel like what doctor you have, the only thing that I think it will help with is like mobility and energy, but that will go downhill eventually. And like, call me a bad person, but I think we should prioritize these children having a roof over their head and not going into the foster system over the mom having a doctor that she's comfortable with. Or the only other thing is maybe they should try, and I don't know, OP never gave context here, but they should try doing the long drive to take the mom to the doctor that she prefers. Like, I understand that that's a shitty thing to say, but I do think the priority here is the kids. They really need to legally serve the dad. I mean, who knows, man? It's another country. Like, it doesn't sound like this guy has the money to help these people, you know? Like, that might just be a huge time sink. I think the real solution here is looking into government funding and figuring out something that kind of works for everybody. If we're talking treatment and end-of-life planning, that just is what it is. Yeah, and like, Snark, I'm not trying to like diminish the fact that this is sad for the grandma or the mom or whatever you want to say here, but like, I just feel like in this situation, you have to find the priorities, and in my opinion, that one is kind of the lowest. Don't get me wrong, it sucks. It really does, but like, to me, housing those children is top of the list. I kind of want to see what the comments are saying. Not the a-hole, your sister lost the kids. She has no right to guilt trip you into picking up the pieces she dropped. I agree with that. Someone who lost custody of her kids doesn't have an opinion about my parenting choices. Exactly. Yeah, I mean, it looks like consensus is not the a-hole. I think OP would only be the a-hole if they weren't willing to find other solutions like the one that I just brought up, but it doesn't sound like that's the case. It sounds like if OP could, she would take these kids in a heartbeat. They're across the country. Yeah. I mean, I don't know how far across the country. Some countries are not that far away. And like, I'm dubious about how often she has to see her doctor. If it's between my grandkids and a doctor, it's them in a heartbeat. I agree. That just has to be how it is. Chat, let's go to the update. I'm hoping we get a happy ending here. It's kind of long, but most of it's a clarification. Update to the post literally 6 hours ago. So today, Monday, June 29th, the day I'm reading this, 27 days after the original post. It's been a hectic month, but before I dive into the update, I wanted to address a few more comments and questions from my last post that I was just too overwhelmed to elaborate on at the time. I'm sorry if it's a bit long. You can skip to the bottom for the update. I've spoken to the kid's caseworker. She interviewed me when my mother was first trying to get custody to ask about my upbringing and ensure it would be a good environment for the kids. I reached out more recently to go over logistics if I were to take them in. The caseworker told me she thinks I would be a great fit to give them a stable home, but I lack the adequate space needed to be approved as their guardian. She offered to look into low-income housing options in my area that would be big enough, but the wait lists are unbelievably long. Finances. Yes, we would receive a decent chunk of funding per child and twice as much for the eldest on the spectrum to help cover the kids' costs. But it's money that I would be spending on food, clothes, and other day-to-day necessities. Not money I could put towards a down payment on a bigger house. That financial assistance also wouldn't be considered income as far as my MTG approval goes because it's money for the kids, not me. Chat, what's MTG? Magic the Gathering? That's not what that means. Oh, someone said maybe mortgage? Okay, that makes sense. And when I say we just bought a small townhouse, I meant we closed a little over a month ago and haven't even finished getting settled yet. It has also took our entire savings to do so. We are financially sitting back at square one again. Breaking our brand new mortgage, in parentheses, not to mention the legal costs and realtor fees, etc., is not financially feasible. We also receive first-time home buyer rebates in our closing costs / land transfer tax, in parentheses, thousands of dollars that we would have to pay back if we don't live in our new house as our primary residence for at least a year. The rent prices where I live are about twice the cost of my mortgage, so even putting aside all those other factors, renting again still just doesn't make sense. The math is not mathing. If I could just win the lotto, my problems would be solved. Luckily, my husband has an amazing benefits plan through his work, so dental, glasses, meds, and even therapy are all covered and would extend to the kids if we got custody. All three need glasses, and the youngest has a nasty habit of losing or breaking hers. Information on caring for special needs. I mentioned the eldest on the spectrum struggles socially and with emotional regulation. She's also incredibly bright and appreciates her space and independence. I spent a lot of time volunteering with special needs kids when I was in high school, and I know how difficult it can be. My niece is not what I would consider difficult. She might operate a little differently, but it's nothing out of my scope. My daughter is actually very similar to my niece in all these aspects, and as I said before, my patience knows no bounds when it comes to these kids. I'm also fortunate enough to have the opportunity to work from home when needed. I do have to go into the office a couple days a week for some tasks that can't be handled remotely, but it's flexible enough that I can be home for emergencies, sick days, or even if it's just to go see their school talent show or something. My husband, on the other hand, has a very demanding job. It's impossible to do remotely, and it's not something he can easily call in sick from. Even if I had a huge emergency, he would have to wait for his replacement to enter the control room before he could leave. Okay, that's good to know. Information on building resentment in my husband and daughter. I've talked about this with my husband extensively since my sister first lost custody. He knows how much I love these girls and would support my decision to take them in if we could swing it. W husband. While I haven't talked to my daughter about it because I don't want her to get her hopes up over something that likely can't happen, I can say that she's begged me for a sibling every year since she was a toddler. She's had a really hard time with bullies at school, and her cousins are her best friends. She would happily welcome them all in with open arms, even if it meant being cramped in one room. Okay, so it sounds like the main problems here are housing and probably finances. Main one being housing. That's tough. They kind of are in the worst possible situation where they literally just got this new place. I'm wondering, and I don't really know if this makes sense with the mom's health issues. I think if they could last a year before the cousins move in with OP, this is somewhat doable. Like, it sounds like they need to be in their place for a year at least. And like with that, if the mom compromises to sell her place and move to them, I think this is somewhat manageable still. I also recommend, and granted guys, I have no experience with this because I haven't worked in corporate ever. I do think that also gives you time to maybe bring up a raise to your job. I Will Teach You to Be Rich, which is a book I recommended to you guys if you want to learn about like credit cards, mortgages, investments, things like that. Still highly recommend it, and the author is a great dude, aka not a raging Republican. In that book as well, he gives a game plan for people to ask for a raise in their job. I can't say whether or not it's effective. All I have to say is if I were working a 9 to 5, I would be very aggressive about asking for raises and what I need to do to earn those raises. Me personally, and I think that might be a good thing for OP and the husband to do here, because if they can bump up their salary or their hourly, however they get paid, that just makes it a little bit more realistic for them to be able to give these kids a better home. Just throwing that out there. I think, honestly, that's more advice to like anybody watching this. Like I said, get that book. It'll change your life, and maybe you'll have a good game plan on how to ask for a raise from your employer. My social anxiety could never listen, snark. I feel like that is one of those, like, you just got to get exposure therapy. Half of getting what you want out of life is just asking and knowing how to ask. I encourage y'all, step out of your comfort zones, bro. What you guys want out of life is on the other end of your comfort zone, not on the other end, on the outside of your comfort zone. I truly believe that. Okay, guys, we finally got to the update. Let's see it. My mom and nieces are currently visiting me. In parentheses, we're camping just outside my city, and we seem to have found our compromise. My mom is going to take the year to scrape together what money she can for a down payment to move closer to me. Okay. She's also going to ask her doctor about referrals to a doctor in my city. In the meantime, I've offered to take the girls during major school breaks, in parentheses, summer, spring break, and Christmas. The house will still be very cramped during those weeks, but we spend the majority of the summer camping anyway, so the tight quarters aren't for very long periods of time. Oh, that's such a great compromise. I like that. My husband, in parentheses, I truly don't know what I did to deserve him, has offered to work as much overtime as he's allowed to help us replenish our savings and hopefully get a bigger place when it's time to renew our mortgage. Bro, this man loves you. W husband. I would also do that shit, bro. I would be streaming every day. I would come out with 4 YouTube videos a week. That would probably kill me. I can't even lie, chat, but I would do it. I would do it. My work won't let me do any overtime. On a totally unrelated note, does anyone have any advice or insight on how to get into selling feet pics? Asking for a friend. I'm sure there are some subreddits, right? Right? My sister found my original post and has been blowing up my phone with nasty text and voice messages. She's even made some wild Facebook posts about what a traitor of a sister I am. I simply don't have the energy to listen to her 2 cents on the matter, so I'm ignoring her on all fronts. Yeah, I would say the safe bet is when your drug addict sister has a problem with what you're doing, that also is directly because they're a drug addict, you just ignore them. Block them on Facebook, block her phone number, tell her to go do drugs or whatever the fuck she's doing. We definitely can't take custody anytime soon, but we haven't shut down the possibility of taking them in the future when it makes more sense. I think this possibility is what's keeping my mother cooperative for the time being. And that's totally way more realistic. This was just sprung upon you now. Like, you need time to prepare for something like that. Even if you have the money to like take them in now, that's definitely something that you're like, okay, if I could have like a year before this happens, that gives me time to like prep and make sure that I'm ready to take up this responsibility. This will likely be the last update unless the plan for my mom's move next year craps out, in parentheses, knock on wood. I got you, girl. We knocking on some wood right now. Thank you to everyone that gave genuinely helpful advice and support. Time to go swimming. You know what? Great update. I feel like that's happy ending. The compromise wasn't exactly what I came up with, but I still think it's a great compromise. And that's just what needed to happen. And I am really glad that, respectfully, the person that needed to compromise here was OP's mom. And I'm glad that the mom got there. Like, W mom. We should throw that out there too. W husband, W OP, W mom. Everybody except for the fuck ass sister acted appropriately in this update. And I can go to sleep happy with that. Am I the a-hole for not wanting to go to an amusement park with my friend because she is plus sized? Hi, I am probably going to get hate based on the title alone, but read the whole post, please. I'm 21 female and have a childhood friend 22 female. We live near a big amusement park in our state, and every summer since we were kids, we've gone to it together pretty often. Ever since we were teens, she's been curvy / plus size, and that's fine by me. But recently she's put on a lot more weight. Again, I don't care about this at all, means nothing to me. However, it's created an issue with going on rides and attractions at the amusement park. We haven't been to the park in around a year. Our first time back was last week. When we were there, I discovered that most of the rides we used to love going on, she can no longer fit on them. Others she can technically fit, but doesn't want to ride them because the seatbelts feel too uncomfortable. There are very few rides left that she can go on without an issue. Also, we went on a ride recently where 2 people share a bench type of seat. It was extremely uncomfortable because there wasn't much room for me, and it felt like I was being crushed most of the ride, and it felt unsafe. There's also been an issue with her eating my food while we are there. Like, for example, I will buy some popcorn or something at the amusement park, she will buy her own stuff, and then she asks to try mine. Usually she will eat it all if I don't stop her. I may get hate for this, but she sometimes gets dirty looks or pointed at when we are there together because people are judgmental. This makes me sad for her and just uncomfortable overall. She's been asking if I want to go to the amusement park this weekend, and I really don't see the point because we won't be able to go on most of the rides. I feel terrible though and don't know how to say I don't want to go. Should I suggest some other activity? I feel like she will get suspicious because I love amusement parks and usually always wanted to go during the past summers. I'm not entirely sure why she wants to go there so badly if most of the attractions do not work for her anymore. Am I the a-hole? Okay, the only thing I'm really confident about is I feel like this is a no a-holes here. Like, I don't think OP's the a-hole or this woman is the a-hole, you know? I think they're both young, trying to figure out how to navigate a difficult situation, specifically with OP. And I don't necessarily blame OP. Like, hey, I can't go on most of the rides that I want to go on to, and it's just overall not a pleasant experience because this friend is plus sized. Like, I think you can identify that without discriminating or hating on a plus size person, because that's just the case. That's how it is. And like, I don't think it's fair for OP to go to these things if they don't enjoy them because of that factor. And I really do like to give OP some credit. I really love that she said, like, the entire post, she really wants to make sure that she's catering to her friend's feelings. And she even says, like, should I suggest going and doing something else? Like, it's not like she wants to abandon this person. It's just that this specific activity isn't as fun for them as a whole. The thing that I'm not sure about, chat, and that maybe you guys can help me figure out, my gut is almost leaning towards communication here, because I think if she just tries to like not address it and dodge whenever this girl wants to go to the amusement parks, it's gonna create tension in their friendship that I think would be at least a little bit more avoidable if you approach them and you go like, hey, there's no hard feelings here. I just want to communicate why going to the amusement park isn't as fun for me. Is there something that we can do as friends to like work on this together? And I know that's a hard conversation, but that is, I think, how a friendship works, is like, if something's not working in the friendship, you should talk about it. Now, the problem is that they're both young and weight is obviously a very sensitive subject. So I just don't really know. Like I said, guys, I think this is no a-holes here. I think there's a bunch of different ways you could go about it. I think if I were in the situation, I would want to communicate with my friend to try to figure out, a lot of those things seem relatively fixable. Like, maybe when you guys go on rides together, you don't have to sit next to each other, and that way it's not uncomfortable for OP. You know, you can talk to her about like, hey, I'm not super wild when you eat all my food. Can we have more boundaries around like how we share food together? I think there's a lot that you can work on together there, as well as maybe she wants OP's support to like, you know, combat that however she needs to, you know? I think there's a lot there that I think if you're a good friend and you guys have good communication, you can work on it together, but it's just very delicate. The friend eating OP's food is a dick move in general. Okay, I see that. If this is a childhood, lifelong friend, why haven't you already voiced these concerns? As someone who is a bit bigger, but been bigger where rides could be difficult, like I know what it is for me, I'd rather you just be forward about what you want to do instead of pussyfooting around it. Okay, Kitten and Posey, like, I understand what you're saying, but you have to keep in mind, this has only become an issue as of this year. They haven't been going to the amusement parks together as often, and back in the day, she wasn't as plus size as she is now. So like, I understand what you're saying, and I agree with you. Like, that's how I feel too. I feel like if I were in either of their shoes, I'd either want to start the conversation or have the person start conversation with me. I don't think we're where you're at yet. I think you're putting a lot of blame on OP that isn't merited, because like, OP has just identified the problem from their situation together going to this amusement park, and now she's trying to figure out how to handle it. And also, she's 21, bro. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, when I was 21, I did not have the capacity to know how to have these conversations with people, because you're borderline still kind of a child. There were probably plenty of conversations that I should have had when I was 21 with my friends that I didn't have because I wasn't mature enough. It's hard to talk about, yes, but it needs to be done. My friend sat me down one time about it. I explained my situation as to why I'm plus size, and we talked about it and found solutions to counter. Exactly. The problem is, Rose, that conversation could go bad, you know? Or who knows? I actually don't really know if OP's friend is comfortable in her body, but assuming she's young, maybe a little immature, that conversation could go poorly. But I think it is a conversation that needs to be had. Being afraid of the conversation going poorly is just avoiding it. I agree too, Bouncy Ball. I'm a plus size person. I get that the world isn't accommodating to us, but I also get that it's not OP's job to cater to the friend, but eating her food is wildly inappropriate, and they should definitely have some open communication about these issues. But if the friend gets mad and tries to say she's excluding her due to her weight, then something more is going to have to be considered. Yeah, I mean, like, it just sucks that like that is the case, but that's just kind of like, that's how the world works. And if you're not able to identify it and like view the world realistically and turn it into like your friend who, like, clearly this friend wants to hang out with them and wants to work with them to like make their experience hanging out with them more enjoyable. But like at the end of the day, if OP's experience with this friend isn't enjoyable, that's gonna hurt their friendship in the long run. And I think it's like communicating that, but also if the friend is able to not let that like hurt their ego or their feelings about it. Like, I don't know, it's a hard situation, but I do think we're all on the same page. I think OP needs to talk to the friend and kind of just hope the friend is mature enough to have a mature conversation about it. Chat, let me see what the comments are saying. Okay, top comment, not the a-hole. When I was in high school, I went to a theme park and saw a larger guy in my year trying to get on a roller coaster. The safety lock or whatever you want it wouldn't close around him and he had to leave so the roller coaster could start. It was humiliating for him and a bunch of people were laughing. Suggesting another activity might be best. That's rude that a bunch of other people would laugh. But like, I do think suggesting another activity is important, but I think you have to have the conversation around why you're suggesting the other activity. Not the a-hole, but handle it delicately. Suggest the other activity. In quotes, I was kind of hoping to do something chill, like go to the beach. I'm not really up for long lines this weekend. It sounds like the comments are very much like dance around the situation and don't have the conversation. And I don't know if I agree with that. I think that is a temporary fix to a long-term problem that you might run into in the future. And like I said, I really do think that after a while of you turning down going to the amusement park with them, they're gonna start picking up like, oh, OP doesn't want to go to this amusement park with me. And there's gonna be tension in the friendship. Assuming that you want a friendship with them that's long-standing, I think the conversation has to happen. This one said, why not go with a group so she can enjoy the parts of the park that she likes and there are other people to ride with? I guess that's an option. But like I said, I think it's just a temporary band-aid. Crazy. I mean, just a lot of people recommending like deflecting it. I don't know, man. Not the a-hole. I might get some hate too, but the fact is you laid out some pretty legitimate reasons as to why her weight is enough of a problem to not want to go with her. I don't care what size anyone is, but if it gets to a point where their sheer size and appetite will stop you from being able to enjoy or even take part in certain activities with them, it is what it is. I kind of have to agree with that. Like, it's not like the most PC thing to say, and I'm with them. Like, I don't care what size anybody is, but like there are certain activities that if you're overweight or obese, it can make those activities either completely not able to be enjoyed or unenjoyable for another person. At the end of the day, like, you aren't required to put up with that unenjoyment, you know? Like, that's not fair to you that you have to put up with it because of that, you know? Yeah, I prefer someone to be straight with me rather than dance around my feelings. That's how I feel too. Like, a lot of these comments, Death Pants said that, by the way. That's how I feel like these comments are, most of them are treating it. And this comment that we just read is the first one that is kind of like, hey, it is what it is. I guess they didn't say like you have to address it, but I think that's what we're adding on here is like dancing around it doesn't, in my opinion, help the person or OP. And if you truly want to be friends with them, you should be able to have hard conversations around it. There is an update to this post, but OP added an edit on the original post. I've been asked a few questions repeatedly, so I want to clarify. I was asked if she can wait for me until I ride certain rides. I brought this up once and she said she doesn't really want to because that would be boring for her since the lines are so long. And I totally understand where she's coming from. Also, people are taking what I said about stealing food as me shaming her for her weight and eating habits. I want to say that ever since we were children, she has had a habit of taking other people's food, and she was not overweight at the time. I mentioned it because it's something she typically does at amusement parks. I've been told that it's not fair to say I'm uncomfortable when people stare at her or say mean things. In parentheses, this has happened a couple times, mostly by groups of kids/teens. Do people want me to be happy when my friend is getting this treatment? Yes, it's more important how she feels, not me, but I'm not her and I can't speak for her. Interesting, we didn't even touch on that. It seemed to bother her too though, and once I yelled at one of the people who made comments to her, and she said she appreciated that as she's much more reserved than I am, so may not have been comfortable telling them off herself. For those asking why she still wants to go to this park, there's 2 to 3 rides she still goes on without much issue. She usually wants to just repeat those ones when we go. I would be okay to do this sometimes since I like those rides, but if we go every week, in parentheses, which is normal for us in past summers, this begins to feel like a waste of money and no longer as fun. This is interesting. I don't know, I didn't really get a vibe that OP was like, this makes me uncomfortable and I'm making this thing about me. I got it more as like, I would prefer if people didn't make fun of my friend openly the way that they do. Because yeah, I understand people like, okay, don't make it all about yourself, but I don't think that's what OP was saying. She was just like, I feel bad for my friend, you know? Okay. Pretty much just like OP defending themselves a little based off of what other people said, but I don't know. I didn't get the vibe here that like OP had any malice towards this friend. I think OP is very understanding of their friend and wants to support them, but that being said, their their own comfortability and enjoyment of this activity is definitely hindered by their friend being plus sized, which I don't think is like a terrible thing to identify. And I don't think that like OP is just required to put up with it. And like you guys said, I don't think OP needs to be lying to her, or that's not what you do to a friend. If you have a friend, you have a hard conversation with them, because if you value that friendship, you want to move through it together with both parties being as comfortable as possible. That's a tough one, but I think OP just needs to have that conversation, and hopefully they're both mature enough to be able to work through the conversation together. Yeah, no assholes here. That's how I feel too. Like, don't get me wrong, you guys. I think the main argument for the friend being the a-hole is stealing of the food, which I agree with. I think that's not a great move. I know food is hard because it's kind of a sensitive thing and everybody has their own boundaries around it. I'd be curious if OP's communicated to her before, like, hey, I don't like when you do that. Can you please stop doing that? And she continues to do that. I think that's where I'm like, okay, maybe there's an a-hole verdict to have here. Based off the story, I would assume that hasn't really happened, because it sounds like food is a very sensitive, touchy subject that maybe OP is a little afraid to have a conversation with her about, because she's continuing to become more plus size. Addressing it is how you get a stronger friendship. Yeah, Cross, I think that's just the move here. I think with friends, like, sometimes you just do stuff with your friends and you like cross boundaries because like it's like siblings. Like, I'm not gonna lie, like sometimes me and my siblings will like poke and prod each other because like we're so close, you know, like that foundation is there where like every once in a while we kind of like cross a boundary and then get reminded about it, but it's like, hey, I love you still. It's just like you get really comfortable with that person and you think you can like stretch it, you know, it's like stealing your siblings' leftovers. You know what I'm saying? Like, you shouldn't do that, but like it happens every once in a while, and then they need to yell at you and tell you suck, and then you guys come together. And like I feel like really good friends kind of is that sibling relationship, and so like maybe this person just needs that reminder, you know? I eat too fast for anyone to steal my food. I'm the same way, Death Pants. I'm fucking all right, here we go, chat. Update coming in 3 days after the original post. I chose to talk to my friend yesterday, as today was the day she wanted to go to the theme park. I did not bring up anything about weight, but simply said that I was wondering if she felt like we got our money's worth last time we went. She stated that it would have been nice to get on more rides, but that she doesn't want to go on any rides with an over-the-chest restraint, in parentheses, which is what they have on most of the rides at our park, because they're uncomfortable / do not close. I told her I totally understand this, but that this really limits what we can do while at the theme park, and that tickets are pretty expensive, especially as we are college students. She said she sees my point and said that she's trying to save money too. So we decided that instead of going to the theme park so often, in parentheses, we used to go maybe 3 times a month, we are just gonna go back in August when they will be having a live music performance and fireworks show at the park. I directly asked her if she would be offended if I went to the park with other friends. She said no, and that it makes sense for the time being since it isn't the easiest activity for her right now. She also commented on how she's gotten into the habit of going with me every summer and wasn't fully considering if this was actually worthwhile because she was so used to it. I told her that there are other theme parks I've heard of that seem a lot more accommodating, and that maybe if she wants to do a road trip one day, we could try another park. We made other plans for tonight. We are gonna go see a fun movie. That's all. We are still close friends. She isn't mad, and no, she doesn't think I'm fat phobic for suggesting another activity, unlike some Redditors here, LOL. I mean, I think that's such a stretch, man. Like, calling someone fat phobic who is this accepting and like respectful of their friends' feelings, like, to me, that's just like counterproductive. Like, you should be calling people fat phobic who are actually fat phobic, not somebody who's like, hey, I'm not going to completely ignore how this changes my life, but like I still care about this friend and I still love them. I still want them to have a good time. Like, I don't know, man. It's just dumb to me. I'm very interested in this reaction chat because, like, don't get me wrong, I think there was a conversation that was had, but it didn't quite dive into the real issue. It just kind of danced around it, which, to be fair, I'm very happy that they found solutions and like they can still continue their friendship. And it does seem like it was almost indirectly addressed. Like, the friend understood that the conversation was around them being plus size. So like, big W on salvaging the friendship, not hurting anyone's feelings. I just think like there is a world where maybe this friend finds this post or something happens where it comes out that like OP was having issues with their weight that maybe they didn't communicate right away. And like, I don't know. I think that's a little bit of like a ticking time bomb. Granted, I guess it could never come up, up. I don't know. It just seems like the conversation wasn't directly addressed. Ultimately, the issue is OP couldn't ride as much as they wanted, and we don't need to center the friend's size to have that conversation. Yes and no. I see what you're saying, but it was the center of the conversation. It just seems like they implied it. They never directly said like, hey, you're not getting your money's worthwhile because of your size. Honestly, y'all, it kind of reminds me a little bit of corporate speak. Like, you know, like in an email chain when you're like passive aggressively calling out somebody in corporate speak, but you have to do it in like a nice, polite way. Like, that's almost how it feels to me, which I guess corporate stuff gets stuff done, you know, every once in a while, but it just doesn't seem like, I don't know. I'm just not a big fan of that type of communication. It's not like she's telling her to lose weight. Exactly. But I think you have to address the weight as like, hey, I'm perfectly fine with this. I have no problem. It's just when we go to the amusement park, this specifically makes it less enjoyable when we go together. I'm not saying that I want you to lose weight. I'm not saying that like you ruin the experience for me or something. Like, we just have to, as friends, talk about it, because I would prefer to do other activities with you that wouldn't be as limiting. Like, it just feels like they never said that. They just danced around it, which I guess you could argue like that's a form of communication. Like I said, you got that corporate speak, and sometimes that's the way that you can communicate things without hurting anybody's feelings. But I will say, like, I don't have a lot of corporate experience, but I hear a lot of times where like corporate speak results in blow-ups in the future. Whereas if somebody would have just been like, hey, here's the problem. Hey, you're kind of dropping the ball on this. We need you to not drop the ball. Like, I do think sometimes those conversations, if you frame them well enough, can be like, hey, we're not attacking you. Here's how it is. Let's talk about how we can move on. Like, I don't know. I'm a firm believer that that is always the right move. Cause like, I'm not gonna lie, guys. Like, what if OP's friend finds this post? How do you think she's gonna feel about it? Ooh, okay. You know what, Savannah? I like this. For a 21 and a 22-year-old, I'm not mad about it. You know what, Savannah? I'll actually agree with you. Definitely more mature ending for people that young. Am I the a-hole for asking my boyfriend for my deposit back? Me, 36 female, and my boyfriend, 39 male, have been dating for a year and have finally decided to move in together. We're super excited. Last week, Saturday, was our moving day. I'm moving in with him. I needed a moving van, which he was driving, but I was paying for. It was going to cost 250 pounds for the day, but he had to book it due to insurance, etc. So I sent him over the money when he went to pick up the van. They said they needed an extra 100 pounds insurance money that we will get back after the van is dropped off, and there are no damages. I said fine and sent over the extra money. The move went fine. We were really happy and excited. When he dropped off the van, I asked about the 100 pounds. He said they would send it in a few days. I said fine. Didn't think any more of it. We spent the next few days unpacking, etc., and just enjoying each other's company and the whole experience. Thursday night, as we were going to bed, I said, oh, they still haven't given us back that deposit money. We'll have to call them in the morning, see what's happened. He froze. Oh, they put that in my bank Monday. I looked at him and said, why didn't you put that in my bank? He got really upset with me and started saying it would only go on shopping anyway, and why does it matter whose bank it goes in? Because OP paid for it? I was really confused and upset. I said, but you didn't even tell me they'd given you the money back, or said, let's just keep it for shopping. You just kept it? He then got really angry and shouted, fine, I'll put it in your bank. And he grabbed his phone and transferred the money. This is such a red flag reaction. Yeah, I don't know if we can put our thumb on exactly what's going on here, but it sounds like he thought he could bamboozle you out of the money. He has some sort of like anger issues, control issues. Also, this is not something that you blow up on someone about. You just go, oh shoot, you're right, my bad. And then you transfer them the money. Like, it's something that shouldn't be an issue that he's making an issue all on his own. I was left shocked and confused. Was I wrong to ask for this money back? Am I the a-hole? I mean, not the a-hole. Yeah, if you put a deposit down on something, you should get that deposit back. It shouldn't go into his bank account. And even if you guys are planning on using it for something else, there should be communication around when that 100 pounds goes into someone's bank account. Also, it's just super sketchy in general that it's going into his bank account. Update, thank you for all the comments. Your comments have been really helpful. At least I know now I'm not overreacting or going crazy. I'm going to keep an eye on things and see how it goes. As I said in one of my comments, he's never shouted at me before. Maybe this is just a strange one-off, but I will be having a conversation with him about finances. Wait, you guys didn't do that before you moved in? Call me crazy. I think you should have a conversation around how your guys' finances are going to work when you live together before you move in together. I don't know. That seems like a pretty important thing to do before you move in with someone. Also, one good thing that did come up a lot in the comments, everything is in his name. The tenancy, the bills, everything. So if this is just a case of his mask slipping, I can just walk away, and I will. Thanks again. Okay, as much as it's nice that you can walk away, also, question mark. You know, like we've heard plenty of stories of like people telling their partner that they are paying a certain rent, but in the end, they're just pocketing their partner's extra money that they're paying rent for. I'm not mad about OP's decision to like keep an eye on things because this could potentially be a one-off. That being said, now I feel like you have to be more diligent about this stuff. Like you have to double, triple check stuff now that you know that he's kind of weird with his money. Damn, comments want her to go nuclear though, which I don't necessarily disagree with, but I don't know. I would just be double, triple checking everything, man. Okay, it looks like OP is replying to a lot of other Am I the A-hole posts. Ooh, yes, we have known each other a year and he has never shouted at me before. Okay, that makes me think that this is a mask off situation then. Don't get me wrong, I understand, especially at 36 and 39, moving in together after a year, but also I think then your threshold of sketchy behavior has to be on a higher alert, especially this early on. Like, I don't know, man. A year is not that long to keep your mask on when you're not living with somebody. We moved Saturday. The money went back into his account Monday, and I brought it up on Thursday. OP said, I've been worrying this week. I've been thinking about things, and there are some things bothering me. Alarm bells are ringing. I wouldn't have posted if they weren't. Dude, I almost want to tell her to trust her gut then. I don't know, man. That is weird behavior. Like, especially that new into the relationship, like, you gotta be on your best behavior, you know? Yeah, this would definitely put me on edge a little bit. Okay, wait, Chad, actually, this is a great time to ask a question because I was thinking about this. When is it an appropriate time to talk about your finances with your partner? This might be a very controversial take from me. I think immediately. I think as soon as you guys start getting serious, especially when you're like a full adult like I am, you guys have to talk about your finances immediately. How much debt do you have? Are you saving for retirement? Are you good with your money? Do you budget? Do you have any large outstanding debts? Because I remember there was like a Reddit post where somebody was like, oh, you don't have to tell your boyfriend anything about your finances. And I remember being like, that would kind of annoy me. Like, I would think you're hiding something from me if I'm like, hey, we're getting really serious and we've been dating for a long time and you won't tell me about how you manage your money. Like, what are you hiding from me? I feel like it's normal to talk about right away. That's how I feel too. When you go exclusive, see, that's how I feel. 3 to 6 months, I still think that's a decent timeline. Okay, you guys are kind of on the same page as me, like immediately. Isn't there like a 50% of divorces are because of financial reasons or whatever? It might be even more than that. Yeah, I don't know. I don't understand people who are weird about it. Like, don't get me wrong with you guys. Like, I'm not gonna like talk about exactly how much I make and all that stuff, but like, I can also encourage you guys or give you generalizations of like, I save pretty well. I invest pretty well. I keep my debt super low. The first debt that I've taken out was my car loan and that's super manageable. Like, I would recommend you guys do the same thing kind of thing. But like with my girlfriend, we talked about that within 2 weeks of getting to know each other, of just like, where are you at with your finances? Because like, here's where I'm at. And like, I want a partner that can work together on this and isn't gonna hide shit from me. Yeah, I think that might be good information here of like, if OP has like verified that this guy doesn't have like gambling problem or like a huge debt problem or he's like weird with money, then maybe give him some leeway. But if you haven't talked to this guy about finances, first off, what the hell are you doing moving in with him? But second, I think your best bet is just to dip. Am I the a-hole for not claiming my husband's speeding ticket, which caused him to lose his license? Disclaimer, we are not in the USA, so laws and rules may differ. My husband got a speeding ticket going 28 kilometers over the speed limit in a 50-kilometer zone. Because cameras catch only the license plate, he could claim that someone else was driving. That person would get an email notification, and if accepted, the fine would go to them. Oh, so he wants to lie. Yeah, you guys are saying it in chat. That sounds illegal. The catch is that he had under 2 years of driving experience. Therefore, such violation, he had to go to some extra classes. He was asking me to write that ticket on myself because I have 2+ years of driving experience, and it would only be a small fine for me as I had not had any other violations on record. I, however, refused because I hate when people speed. I didn't want such violation on my record, and I didn't want to make a habit of it. Eventually, he failed to show up to those classes within the given year, and now he has to retake his driving exam, both theory and practice. Okay, honestly, chat, this is the biggest red flag out of the entire thing. So your husband got punished for his actions, tried to hawk it off on you. You said no, and then he just didn't do the thing that he had to do to make up for his actions. Like, he's an idiot. You're dating a moron, or not dating, you're married to a moron. He's very angry at me for multiple days now and saying it's my fault. I stand my ground because I didn't know he would fail to go to the classes and lose his license. I mean, more than that, not your circus, not your monkey, girl. Listen, I applaud you. You drive the speed limit. You hate speeders. I respect it. Just stay in the right lane, please. I mean, I know you're not in the US, but if you're ever in the US, get out of my way. Your husband just sounds like an idiot. Like, if I get pulled over, that's on me. If I get a speeding ticket, that's on me, bro. Your boy fucked up. I gotta pay whatever fine it is. I gotta go to whatever classes I go to. That's on me. He can't sit there and be like, ooh, I made a fucky wucky. Let me throw it on my wife. Oh, my wife doesn't want to deal with the repercussions of this, and I need to go to these classes. I'm just not gonna go to them. Oh no, my license got taken? Blame wife. Yeah, he's dumb. You're married to a full-blown moron. Look at this. The rock of smarter than your husband. Your husband's IQ is rock. I think it's time to find a new one, girl. It's easier to blame the innocent than instead of oneself. That sounds like such a miserable person to be with. Like, bro, your partner can't take accountability when they fuck up. What are we doing? You know? Am I the a-hole for asking my cousin for her medical degree? I, 29 female, and my cousin, 30 female, has 3 kids, 10, 9, and 4. She has not vaccinated any of them. Stupid idiot alert. Stupid idiot alert. Now, let me preface this by saying this. I don't care what you do with your child. I do. I do. I don't want your unvaccinated child near my vaccinated child. If you vaccinate, don't vaccinate, etc. It's your child and your choice. However, my cousin will go to great lengths to tell anyone who disagrees with their stance on vaccines to educate themselves or do your research. And her research is just like fucking Fox News and Facebook. This absolutely drives me up the wall because the research is based on Google searches, not peer-reviewed journals, not pediatricians' advice, just simple, should I vaccinate my child? Well, one day we had a discussion about me having children one day. She already tried to say, well, don't vaccinate your kids. It's bad for their health. I said I would follow whatever my OB or my future children's pediatrician says. Then she said, well, I highly recommend you educate yourself and do your research before you do so. Well, I straight up asked her, well, show me your degree, not your Google searches, not your Facebook mom groups that agree with everything. I want to see your degree where you're qualified to tell me what I should and shouldn't do with my baby. You can do whatever you want with your kids, but don't you dare tell me how I should raise my future children. She got mad and left. Typical Trump-supporting, brainwashed idiot. Our families are divided. Some say that I was right. Some say you should have just heard her out. No, I'm sorry, bro. Anti-vax is one of those things where you're just fucking wrong. You're just wrong and stupid. You're gonna listen to fucking RFK Jr., the guy whose brain has been fried from years of doing drugs, and that's the guy who you're like, I'm gonna take my health advice from him. I'm sorry, you're stupid. I would much rather take advice from a rock. I feel bad for upsetting her, but I'm not gonna let someone say I'm uneducated when all they do is research BS on Google and Facebook mom groups and just run with it. Yeah, girl, stand your ground. I think you're honestly too lenient on this one. If you don't vaccinate your kids, I'm sorry, bro, you brain dead. I'll die on that hill. I don't care. Someone's gonna get real offended by that, but like, I'm sorry you had to hear the truth from me. My bad. Vaccinate your kids. Any doctor who has half a brain cell and isn't a sellout is gonna tell you vaccinating your kids is so important. If you don't vaccinate your kids, you're just setting them up to die, bro. And also infect other kids. Like, why would you want that? Oh man, imagine being as stupid as this cousin, bro. Edit, I did not expect this to blow up the way it did. I want to clarify some things. Yes, I absolutely care about vaccines. I plan to vaccinate my future children. Where I was saying I don't care was parents are unfortunately gonna do what they're gonna do besides listening to a doctor's advice. My cousin is still not talking to me, but she keeps sending me Facebook posts and TikToks about how bad vaccines are. No actual research. I blocked her. That sounds about right. This person made a TikTok where they talked very confidently, and because they did that, they have to be right. I've met wet paper towels with more common sense than that, bro. Come on, we gotta do better. Hot take, bro. It just ain't worth the struggle. Call me crazy, but I just don't keep stupid people around me, man. I really don't. If you prove to say and do stupid shit, I will ruthlessly never hang out with you. I will go out of my way to not hang out with you. Honestly, I feel bad for the kids. Like, that's what I was telling OP when she was like, I don't care what you do with your kids. It's like, okay, but like, I care because you are having that kid and then setting that kid up for failure because you want to do your research on TikTok and Facebook. I do think they need to make a law that like only certified TikTok doctors who provide links to research articles can make videos talking about what's good or bad for you. Oh my God, you can't go to school without vaccinations in some places? Honestly, I fuck with that. I don't want your unvaccinated kid around my kid. Am I the a-hole for going on my approved vacation even though my manager scheduled me anyway? I, 19 male, work part-time at Maigere. I probably butchered that. That's also a grocery store, right, chat? Back in early June, I requested 5 days off for a vacation before the request deadline. My manager approved every day on June 17th, so I booked everything and made plans. I'll be out of state during those dates. When the work schedule came out, I noticed I was scheduled on one of my approved approved vacation days. I left my manager a note letting him know because I assumed it was a mistake. Instead of fixing it, the schedule was updated again, and I got scheduled on 2 more of my approved vacation days. Wait. So let me get this straight. You told your manager that he fucked up by scheduling you on your approved vacation days, and he scheduled you on 2 more of your days? That guy's a grade A dumbass. Ever since one of my coworkers got fired, we've been working 6-day weeks and covering what feels like 2 people's jobs. Even though I'm part-time, I've already worked 6 days straight. I'm planning on talking to my manager in person, but if the schedule isn't fixed, I'm still going on my vacation because I requested the time off on time. It was approved weeks in advance, and I made non-refundable plans based on that approval. Am I the a-hole if I don't show up for those shifts if they never correct the schedule? I mean, I don't think you're the a-hole. I think if you really need this job, that's the only part where it's like, all right, bro, he might fire you for this, which then in that case, I hope there is a physical trail that you can then, I don't know, sue the shit out of him and get your bag, king. You know what I'm saying? Hit him with that wrongful termination. But yeah, fuck this guy. Is there anything in corporate where you can report your managers? Because like a guy like this should just get reported. Like honestly, if this were me, I would be petty as fuck and go try to match with anybody in Myers corporate. And then if I connect with one of them, reach out and be like, hey dog, just thought I'd let you know that your shit ass manager at this location is pulling fuck shit on me. Kind of a bad look for Meyer. Like I'm so fucking petty, chat, especially for a part-time job. Like I know the job market is not fantastic right now. I don't want to be numb to that. But like for a grocery store, or like, it sounds like you guys are more comparing this to Walmart job. To me, I'm like, I'd gamble. I'd roll the dice. I'm petty as hell. I guess I'm just assuming the worst of Meyer, but there's no way this job is good enough to where you don't want to risk getting like your job lost by reaching out and telling people how shitty their managers are. Walmart, but nicer. Ooh, okay. See, I feel like a brand like that's gonna want to keep up their reputation, you know? They don't need employees getting fired and then they go on a smear campaign. Crazy. Chat, there is an update on this. Let me get to the update. Update, thank you to everyone for the advice, even the people telling me to quit on the spot. I emailed my union representative with screenshots and all the details, and I'm currently waiting for a response. I'll also be contacting HR. For anyone wondering, I'm in Michigan, so if that changes anything regarding my rights or how this situation should be handled, I'd appreciate any insight. I'll update again when I hear back. Little update 2 after that. You genuinely can't make this up. I emailed my union rep about my manager messing with my approved vacation, and his assistant replied saying my union rep is on vacation. At least someone gets to enjoy their approved time off. They told me to meet with a union steward and file a grievance, so that's my next step. I'll keep everyone updated. Damn, this was 5 days ago. We need more updates. Where are the updates at? Did you tell bro to go fuck himself? Chat, this is why I can't work. Like, if somebody did me dirty like this, I would get fired. I would be like, you're a fucking idiot. Why are you the manager? Give me the job because clearly you're an incompetent fuck. If I didn't say that out loud, my face would say it. I would literally look at this man and I'd be like, were you dropped on your head? I gotta get a fucking time machine, go back in time to when your mom was holding you and give her some fucking grippy gloves so she doesn't drop you so many times on your head, or like what, dude? Sadly, a lot of unions now are depleted or monsters in and of themselves. Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah, from my understanding with you, and I don't know, maybe there's some good unions out there, but from my understanding, the only like constantly effective union is the unions that cops have, and they're just really good at keeping cops from getting into trouble. That's pretty much it. I mean, I think out of anything, OP might have like a wrongful termination type beat set up, you know? Like if he gets terminated for missing those days because he's like, hey bro, I provided you with scheduled dates that I'm out, I'm gone. Like I paid for the ticket. I would even threaten him. I'd be like, fire me, bro. Easiest wrongful termination suit of my life. I will get my bag from you and you'll probably get fired. Why not, bro? What do you have to lose? A job at a grocery store? Listen, I'm not trying to diminish the job. A job's a job. You do your thing. But like, I'm sure you could get another grocery store job somewhere else or just go to a different Meijer. That'd be funny. My mom changed my aunt's birthday dinner to a restaurant she preferred and I called her out. Am I the a-hole? Yesterday, my mom, 62 female, invited me, 25 female, to a Thai restaurant for my aunt's 73rd birthday. It was my aunt's actual birthday. When I arrived, there were about 8 other family members there, but my aunt, the birthday girl, was nowhere to be found. We called her and found out she was sitting at a completely different Thai restaurant. She came right over when she realized everyone was waiting at the other place. When she walked in, she looked disappointed and sad, which honestly made me feel bad. Oh my God, oh, that's so sad. Later that day at my son's t-ball game, I was talking to my husband and I was joking that somebody was bound to end up at the wrong Thai restaurant because the names were similar. That's when my mom said, well, my sister and I were discussing where to go for her birthday, but she wanted to go to the other Thai restaurant because it's her favorite. it. I didn't want to go there because they switched owners and I don't think the food is good anymore. I was shocked and said, Mom, if Aunt wanted to go to that restaurant and was sitting there waiting for us to show up, then that's on you for telling everyone to go somewhere else just because you don't like it. I told her that my aunt looked disappointed and sad when she arrived because she didn't get to celebrate her birthday at her favorite restaurant. My mom responded, I don't care. If I'm paying for a meal, I want to enjoy it. I'm not giving my money to a restaurant I don't like. I invited you and your cousin, and if you invite someone to dinner, you have to pay for them. Is your mom a sociopath? Dare I say a narcissist? That's insane. Like, that's just not how birthdays work. I feel like the golden rule of birthdays is whoever's birthday it is gets to choose the restaurant. Also, I invited you and your cousin, and if you invite someone to dinner, you have to pay for them. That's also not really how it works. I mean, OP is a 25 female, so she should have her own job. She also has a fucking son and a husband. Like, she can pay for her own meal. She also told me that I didn't really have a right to say anything because she paid for my meal since she invited me. And while I'm genuinely grateful that she paid for my dinner, I don't think that means I have to ignore the fact that my aunt didn't get to spend her birthday at the restaurant she had chosen and was actually sitting at waiting for everyone. So here's the thing, she didn't even pay for my aunt's meal, despite it being her birthday, despite being the one who organized the dinner. So her argument that she could get to choose because she was paying didn't really make sense to me. Bitch, what? So she's not even following her flawed logic? This poor aunt, bro. Motion for OP to take the aunt to dinner with everyone who was there except for this mother. Say I in chat. She continued defending herself and genuinely believed she did nothing wrong. Eventually I said, I don't want to talk about this anymore because it was making me frustrated. My husband heard the entire conversation and agreed with me that the birthday person should have gotten to choose the restaurant, especially since my mom knew beforehand which restaurant my aunt wanted. I think what's bothering me the most is that my mom still doesn't see anything wrong with what she did. I'm frustrated because this is a pattern with her. She often puts her own preferences first and then acts like everyone else is unreasonable for being upset. Yeah, honey, that's a narcissist. I know some people might think I'm overthinking this or making a big deal out of a restaurant, but this is something my husband and I have noticed happens often. This is not really about the Thai food. It's about a repeated pattern where my mom puts her own wants first, even during events that are supposed to be about someone else. So am I the a-hole for calling her out and saying she made my aunt's birthday about herself? Yeah, bro, I think you need to reevaluate how much you hang out with this mom. Like, I know that's a hard thing. Sometimes I say that and I don't really give credit to the fact that that's like a hard thing to do. But like, this bitch crazy. Your mom is an asshole. Your mom is gonna continue going throughout her life because, by the way, listen, y'all can be of the belief that people change and yada, yada, yada. How old's the mom again? Fucking 62 years old. You're telling me she's been on this planet for 62 years and this is probably how she's been operating from day one? If you are expecting change out of her, I'm so sorry. I feel like you're fighting a losing battle. Sue me for that. Call me crazy, man. Call me pessimistic. I'm calling it realistic. She is a lost cause, and this will probably be how she operates until the day she dies. Me personally, she pulls this shit, I ain't inviting her to any more of my birthday dinners, which I know is hard. This is your mom, right? Like, I want to give you credit to that, but like, maybe we might want to start teasing a little bit of low to no contact. I think also you should take your aunt with you to the Thai restaurant that she wanted to go to. Better late than never. This poor aunt just has the most selfish sister on the entire planet, and she's probably had to deal with this for the entirety of your mom's 62 years of life as well. It reminds me of the one where the mom pressured her 12-year-old into having a period party. Agreed. I forgot about that story. Story is also kind of crazy, man. Yeah, bro. That would just be so sad, man. Oh, you guys, I also want to add that my mom and my aunt's other sister had just passed away and her funeral was only 4 days before this happened. My aunt was already grieving and emotional because of that, which is why I feel like my mom's actions probably made the situation even more hurtful. Oh, what a dog shit birthday. That's so sad. Oh, that's just salt in the wound, bro. When it was my birthday in May, she asked me what I wanted and I said a meal from my favorite restaurant and she said, you eat there too much, no. How does that affect your mother? So what, I eat there too much? How does that affect you, you dumbass? Oh, that poor aunt, bro. People like that are just insufferable, man. If you got one of those in your life, snip, snip, chop, chop. Let them live in the world revolves around me and don't let them suck you into their orbit. Make them lonely and sad so that they maybe start doubting their shitty behavior. Send mom to the home. You know what? I can't even disagree with that, Snark. You cooking. That mom just punched her one-way ticket to the retirement home. Am I the a-hole for telling my sister she's not Jewish? My wife, female 43, and I, male 39, traveled across the country to see my parents. We live in the Pacific Northwest, and my parents live in New England, specifically northeast coastal Massachusetts. My parents wanted to take us out out to dinner and have my sister, female 44, and her husband, male 49, come too. My sister and I aren't particularly close, but we have had a fine enough adult relationship. We were closer before I moved to the West Coast. My mom has been researching family history for a few years. She submitted her DNA to one of those websites that tracks ancestry and genealogy. Through matching DNA, she even found a long-lost brother who had been put up for adoption. Wow, holy shit. She also learned that one of her grandparents was an Ashkenazi Jew. I hope I said that right. I apologize. I probably butchered that. So according to DNA results, my mother is a quarter Ashkenazi Jewish. This would also make my sister and me roughly 12% Ashkenazi Jewish. We didn't grow up religious at all. My immediate family didn't attend any church or religious meetings. My dad grew up Catholic, went to a Catholic school, and attended mass every Sunday until he moved out to go to college. After that, he was done. My mom grew up in a non-religious household. She did have a King James Bible in her nightstand, but I never saw her open it. Okay, I can't pretend like I'm the most nuanced on this topic, but like being Jewish doesn't just refer to the religion, correct? Yeah, Jewish is an ethnicity as well. That's what you guys are saying. So like, we gotta keep going, but it sounds like OP's about to say we're not Jewish because we're not religiously Jewish, which I don't think is what you need to encompass to, I don't know, qualify. That might not be the right way to put it, but like to be Jewish, you know? At dinner, my sister and mom were at one end of the table talking, and somehow our Jewish ancestry was mentioned. Both my sister and mom said at the table, we are Jewish. I responded by saying, I am sorry, but Judaism is a religion and you should be practicing to call yourself Jewish. Okay, is that true? I don't think so, right? I have friends who say that they're Jewish, but they don't practice Judaism. OP is very wrong. That's my understanding too, is like, you don't need to practice in order to fully embrace your Jewish culture. My sister said, well, don't tell that to my son. This is really important to him. I responded by explaining that it was cool to embrace family history, but that they shouldn't call us Jewish when we have never practiced, been to temple, or followed any of the laws or rituals. She called me ignorant. So I asked her, would you claim to be Jewish in a room full of Jews or at a temple? She didn't answer the question and continued arguing about how I should be less ignorant and asked if I thought Jesus was a Jew. By this point, everyone seemed uncomfortable, so I thought it'd be best to be quiet and let them change the conversation. Am I the a-hole for telling my sister she's not Jewish? I'm sorry, chat. This is probably a bad one for me to read because I'm not super educated on this kind of stuff. I don't really understand why she asked if OP thought Jesus was a Jew. I don't understand how that relates to the conversation at hand, but I'm leaning towards you're the a-hole, right? Like OP is actively trying to strip them of the culture that they just learned that they're a part of and that they're wanting to embrace. Like, both these people need to be educated. I don't disagree with you, but like, it sounds like the sister wants to be educated and OP is deeply uneducated on what it actually means to be Jewish. I do think OP is the a-hole here. Based off my knowledge, like, you do not need to be practicing Judaism to be Jewish and to celebrate your Jewish culture. Uh-oh. Not the mod team saying locking this post as some of y'all have refused to be normal about this. Oh dear. Okay, this is the top comment. Okay, not to weigh in on the a-hole or not, since Judaism is both religious and ethnic. However, it is important info for your mother and sister to be aware about, as well as any other female family members on your mother's side. Ashkenazi Jews are at higher risks for breast cancer or ovarian cancer, 1 in 40 chance carrying an inherited BRCA1 or BRCA2 gene mutation. Wow, I mean, what a top comment. I don't got an answer for you guys, but just so you know, y'all gotta be more aware of your risk for breast cancer and ovarian cancer, which hell yeah, honestly, if any of you guys are watching this and you also are Ashkenazi Jews, like good PSA. Okay, the actual top comment. I don't know why that one popped up first. That one has less upvotes than this one. There are 2 ways to be considered Jewish, either by converting to and practicing the religion or through the maternal bloodline. If this heritage is all through the women, then technically your mom can consider herself ethnically Jewish. I know a large number of people who consider themselves Jewish while also being atheists. To be fair for them, it's about culture, family traditions, food. Since your family didn't grow up with that, it may raise some eyebrows, but no one can stop them from claiming it if they want to. Wait, chat. I'm sorry, this is more of a curiosity question. Can someone explain the maternal bloodline thing? So you're saying if a family has a brother and sister and the brother marries a non-Jewish woman, they have kids, those kids aren't considered like Jewish by bloodline, but then if the sister marries someone who's not Jewish and they have kids, those kids are considered Jewish by bloodline? Why is that? It only passes through the mom. Why? Because you can guarantee the bloodline through women? Okay. In Judaism, it is believed the soul and religion is passed down from the mother, so the dad doesn't matter in this. Okay. Listen, it's hard because it's a religion and I could offend like a whole group of ethnic people, but genuinely, if someone told me like in Japanese culture, if I was half Japanese because of my dad, therefore I'm not actually Japanese, I would kind of be butthurt about that. Maybe that's fucking crazy of me to say. I think that's weird, you know? Like I wouldn't wouldn't like that. I don't know, it seems very exclusive to me, you know? Like, I'm proud of being Japanese, or I guess half Japanese, and like, I wouldn't want to exclude somebody who isn't considered that because they weren't born of a maternal bloodline that was Japanese. I don't know. It's gatekeeping. That's how I feel. Listen, I could probably get a bunch of people who are gonna get mad at me about this, but like, this is my opportunity to get educated then, because I'm not sticking to this. This is how I feel. Lego Maya Ego said, I say he's not the a-hole. She shouldn't be going around claiming she's Jewish. She isn't. Her mom isn't technically Jewish. She's not religious and keeps a King James Bible. My mom had this issue of being a certain percent Jewish in her family, but she still had the technicality to convert to be considered ethnically/culturally Jewish for participating within it and observing it. Okay, so here's my thing. That sounds like having to jump through a bunch of hoops to want to be enthusiastic about where you come from. And guys, I want to say, I could be wrong here. I don't know, maybe I'll get canceled for this or some shit. To me, if somebody told me like, hey, I'm 12% Japanese, I'd want to be like, cool, bro. Like, let's bond in the fact that we're both Japanese together, even if you're 12%. It seems gatekeeping to me to be like, well, technically she isn't Jewish because like her parents didn't raise her to be Jewish, even though she's like, damn, I'm Jewish. I'm proud of that. I want to start learning about that. I want to start X, Y, and Zing about it. And like, I think it's hard because it sounds like Judaism has two sides to it. It's like the religion side, and then there's like the ethnicity side. Maybe we have to take those into different accounts, but like, I think no matter what your ethnicity is, if you learn that you're an ethnicity that like you didn't know about and you want to dive more about and you're excited about, like, shouldn't that be encouraged? Shouldn't we encourage somebody who learns that they're 12% Jewish to like go and learn about their culture and their family and maybe take a visit to like where a part of them came from? I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong for that, but like, that's just how I feel about it. I don't know. I feel like I could be trampling on religion here a bit, but like, you guys know how I feel about religion. I think a lot of it is a little bit BS. Like, I'm not surprised if like a religion encourages gatekeeping, because that's what religion is. It's gatekeeping you to like make you feel special when you're a part of it, you know? Like, to me, I'm like, listen, if we're talking about the culture, I think it should be accepting. But is she learning about the culture? Lots of people say they are, but don't. I mean, listen, I think there's different levels that you can learn about something that you're newfound in, right? Like, if somebody came up to me and was like, I'm 12% Japanese and I just want to like learn more, maybe not going out of my way to learn it, but just like, hey, you're Japanese. What can you tell me about the culture that you know about Japanese? I barely know anything, by the way, but I'd still want to like converse about it and encourage them. Go visit Japan. Japan's awesome. I think even if you're not Japanese, I think you should visit Japan. I don't understand like the gatekeepiness of it. It's like, if somebody has a modicum of interest, why are we encouraging them not to? I think it's better to experience cultures, whether you are part of that culture genetically or not. There could be several reasons as to why the family didn't grow up knowing that they had Jewish ancestry. I've heard stories of people not teaching their kids and their culture due to being scared of the children being bullied. Bro, you're talking about my culture, by the way. My grandparents were in internment camps. They were racism super hard to the point where my mom and all of her siblings do not have Japanese names. They have super white names. And my grandparents didn't pass down the fact that they knew how to speak Japanese to their kids because they wanted their kids to be more Americanized. Like, if I had somebody come to me and be like, you're not actually Japanese because you don't speak the language, and like, here are a bunch of other different factors on why you're not actually Japanese, I would be kind of mad at them. I'd be like, fuck you. Yeah, I'm not as Japanese as you are because my grandparents were thrown into fucking internment camps and racism for most of their lives. Like, fuck you. I don't know. I could be wrong here, guys. Like, I don't want to sit here and pretend like I am extremely confident on this stance, but like, that's weird to me. And I feel like I shouldn't be crucified for pointing that out. I think that's very common in America, to be honest. Like, I'm sure a lot of Jewish people were not treated well on the East Coast. Am I the a-hole? Walmart messed up scanning my items and I didn't correct them? Last week, I went to Walmart and bought a significant amount of groceries. I went through the self-checkout, and after scanning, my total was $278. After scanning, the machine would not accept my card. A worker came over and tried printing off a receipt and couldn't get that to work either. She scanned a barcode and took it to another self-checkout, and the same issue had occurred. Card machine wouldn't work. She then printed out another receipt and took me to a person to check out. The person she had given the receipt lost the receipt somehow and decided she would rescan all of my items. Chat, I know this is a real story because I have never had a worse checkout experience than in Walmart. Like, I don't know what the hell their systems are running on, but it must be like a fucking soggy piece of toast and a mouse running on a wheel or something, because it always is fucking up. Like, I've never had terrible experiences checking out anywhere except at Walmart, and multiple of them. Since I had already scanned my items myself going through the self-checkout, they were already in bags. At this point, what should have been a quick 5-minute transaction has turned into a 45-minute ordeal. I told the lady at the register that I would take all my groceries out of the bags to help and to speed up the process. She pretty rudely declined my help. Instead, she just haphazardly started grabbing things and throwing them around. After she was finished scanning, the total came to $183, almost $100 less than when I had scanned the items myself. I asked the woman if she was sure she had scanned everything, and she, in a very annoyed tone, said yes, she was sure. Am I the a-hole for not correcting the checkout lady and leaving the store knowing the total was significantly less than what it should have been? Oh no, Walmart lost out on $100. Ah, how dare you. Bro, the billionaire fucking schlobbers are gonna be mad about this one. How dare you steal $100 from our favorite billionaires? They work hard. They work so hard so they can have 3 private jets, 4 yachts, 4 mansions, a bajillion dollars worth of shit they don't need. How dare you take that away from them? As somebody living paycheck to paycheck and can't afford a house, how dare you do that to our billionaires? Nah, bro, fuck them. Fuck them. Also, it's this lady's fault, if anybody's. Like, this is the most Walmart shit I've ever heard. If anything, bro, they're just paying you an extra $100 for wasting 45 minutes of your time. Sounds like Walmart needs to hire better cashiers and create a better system. A win is a win, my boy. As somebody said it, if it's a small business, then they would have been an a-hole, but fuck corporations. Yeah, for real. If this was a small mom and pop shop, yeah, be honest, bro. Be honest about it. If it's Walmart, they can handle missing out on $100, bro. Didn't Walmart do like 56 billion last year in revenue? Like, they're fine. They'll live. Oh no, how dare you take $100 of their 56 billion? Clearly, you're the bad guy in that scenario. I was just worried about the workers getting the shaft. I mean, listen, it didn't sound like that lady was great. I agree with you, that would suck, but sounds like she was kind of meh. Am I the a-hole for calling out a coworker when he commented on me leaving early for my son? I have an almost 19-year-old son with trypanophobia. It is the phobia of needles and medical procedures. My kid also has EDS and does deal with chronic pain. I had to leave work early one day to go to the ER with him. It was extremely stressful for everyone involved. Something has to be wrong for him to tell anyone he has to go to the ER. The next day, I was telling a coworker about the entire ordeal, and another coworker said, yeah, I don't like needles either, but I don't need my mom to hold my hand when I get one. Bro, shut up. There are too many people in this world who let their inside thoughts become outside thoughts. Like, even if that's really how you feel about this situation, you could just shut up. Not everything that comes out of your mouth is gold, bro. So I asked him, do you start sweating profusely, break out in hives, tremble uncontrollably, and your heart race to 200 BPM when the doctor enters the room while on sedatives? No? Then you don't need your mommy. My son needed a guardian there to articulate his medical conditions and give consent if he should lose consciousness, which I did. The coworker got mad and I guess tattled on me to the director. What is this child you work with, bro? Not the coworker running to mommy, man. The director told me I shouldn't have spoken to him like that in front of others. Bitch, what about him? All I'm saying is, if bro had kept his mouth shut, OP wouldn't have had to clap back at him. Before people ask, I was in a side office talking to my coworker with the door open. He was standing in the main office area, eavesdropping on our conversation, talking through the doorway. Uh-oh, chat. Boner alert. Actually, double boner alert. Because that director definitely a boner. And that coworker definitely a boner, bro. Not the a-hole. You should tell your coworker, if bro would have just shut the fuck up, we wouldn't even be here. I'm sorry, you can't blame somebody for the reaction when the reaction is based off of the action that was taken prior. That was completely uncalled for. Sounds like OP might work in a little bit of a boys club situation. I've never fucked with that vibe. I hate like a boys club vibe to a work environment. Shout out my tour guide job at Iowa State. That one was so girl coded. That work environment was awesome. Yeah, nobody was even talking to that guy, for real. Maybe OP should have just hit him with a didn't ask. If somebody butted into my conversation, I'd be like, who are you? Am I the a-hole for being petty with my parents about my house? So I, 20 male, have been living in a 1-bedroom, 1-bath house on my parents' property for 1.5 years now with cheap rent. The original deal was for me to stay until I was ready to move out or until me and my girlfriend marry. About half a year ago, they changed up that and said at the end of the summer, I'd have to get my own apartment so that my sister, 17 female, could move in. This was not the original plan, so I had basically renovated the entire house to make it as comfortable as possible for me. Everything except for the oven, dryer, and washing machine was either bought by me or someone gifted it to me. Because all of this stuff is mine, I recently began to start moving things out gradually. Bookshelf, bed, one of the AC units, my trophy stands, etc. All I have left in this house is my TV, work desk, in parentheses, which will be moved next week, my couch, fridge, and microwave. Yesterday, my parents entered my house while I was at work without asking or anything. Ooh. So we got parents who don't respect boundaries. And then waited until I got home and argued with me about taking all the stuff out of the house. I argued with them as they said I couldn't take all this stuff because then my sister would have nothing for when she moves in. I told them since that I either paid for everything or had the items gifted to me, that they were mine to do with what I please. They called me an a-hole because now my sister has nothing for the house and will have to buy everything while she makes barely any money. I mean, sounds like a her problem, man. Like, so you think OP should just give up everything that they've bought for the place because your daughter can't get her bag like that? Like, come on. Why is that OP's problem? I told them that was not my problem, but it was theirs since they decided to change everything up at the last second, screwing me over, especially when I also struggled with money because I had truck payments and bills. They continued to call me names and said I was being petty and an a-hole for taking those things before leaving. However, I don't think I'm an a-hole for taking my stuff with me. For context, they're normally really amazing parents, but the whole ordeal at the house was the worst I've ever seen them. So am I the a-hole? Yeah, I'm guessing you're dealing with some sort of like golden child syndrome thing, or your parents are just extremely entitled and thought that you living there meant that anything that you invested in the house meant that it stayed at the house, which is ridiculous. Not the a-hole, but you gotta have a talk with your parents like, okay, bro, where is this coming from? Like, if I bought it for myself, why the hell should I just give it to my sister? Also, like, some of the things he was explaining are things that, like, wouldn't make sense to give to your child. Like, OP was talking about his, like, bed and shit, a bookshelf, a trophy case, an AC unit. Like, why should he give it up for his sister? Yeah, I think it's a golden child thing, but I'd be curious to learn more about the parents' relationship with the daughter. Does the sister even have any trophies? That's so fair. I think that's the most important question, chat. Is she a winner or is she a loser? Needs more information. Update, it's been a few weeks since this encounter. More stuff has happened since then. They went on vacation for about a week, in parentheses, which due to bills and moving out, I can't afford to go on. Once they got back, they asked to have dinner with me, so I agreed. They were nice and polite at first, but after the food was eaten, they began to go off on me about how I broke their hearts by not going on vacation with them. When I explained why I cannot afford to go, it was, well, whose fault is that? We argued more and I admitted to them that I had to take up a second job just to keep being able to afford everything. They did not care and continued to berate me with how I upset them and how I'm throwing away my life because I am wanting to join the fire academy instead of going to be a doctor or lawyer like they want. Chat, how much do you want to bet that the daughter told them that she's gonna become a doctor or lawyer and that's why they're prioritizing her? How old is OP even? OP is fucking 20, bro. Absolute dog shit parents, man. Also, if you're a parent like this, you're just so insufferable. Like, this is how you create an unhappy child. You pressure them to pursue a certain career that you want for them, and either they pursue it and are miserable because they're not actually interested in it, or they never live up to it and you just give them internal turmoil by being disappointed in them. I'm tired of it all, but no matter what I say, they don't understand that, or they choose not to. I honestly don't know which. If anyone could give me any tips, do I bottle it all up? Do I expose how they really are to their friends and coworkers, their past? Do I expose the fact that my half-sister is a product of him cheating on my mother with my stepmother when I was not even 2? What do I do? Wait. So is this your stepmother? Did he say that? I mean, listen, you've told us very little, but these people don't sound like good people. I think my advice is like, this is your opportunity to get the fuck away from them. Listen, you can expose them or not. I think that's gonna be a waste of your time and energy. I think you should put your energy towards completely cutting them off, getting away from them, and go to the fire academy, man. Go do your shit. Like, the more time that you spend on your fuck ass parents and your half sister and like the energy of like being angry at them, like, that's just energy that you're taking away from like creating the life that you want, which seems to be going to the fire academy, becoming a firefighter, you know, not having to work 2 jobs, getting your own house, having the coolest truck that you can possibly have. Like, go do that. Put your energy towards that, not towards your very, very, very toxic family. Easier said than done, by the way, chat. I want to throw that out there. I feel like sometimes I like tell people to cut off their parents and like don't address that. That's a hard thing to do, but like just start teasing low to no contact, you know? I tell them straight up, I'd be like, you telling me what to do with my life? Toxic. You prioritizing my sister? Toxic. Loki, I think you toxic for cheating on my mom when I was 2 years old. Crazy shit for you to do. I just be like, hey, I don't want to talk to you very much anymore. I'm gonna go become a firefighter. Either you get on the train or jump the fuck off. Yeah, and any parents who are like these parents, like, you guys are terrible parents. Shout out Kathy. Like, she always wanted me to like get a degree, get a good job that I was happy with and that I enjoyed going to every day. She was a little skeptical about the whole YouTube thing, but she was never unsupportive about it. Like, she never had a conversation with me that was like, I'm so disappointed. You know, she was just curious on how she could support me to pursuing what I was interested in, which I think is a great parent thing to do. She was making sure I wasn't a bum who wasn't working hard. She would have never enabled me if that was the case, but she never tried to push a certain way of life on me. Am I the a-hole for not allowing my niece to serve herself during a family dinner? I tried posting this a while back and then was going to let it go as the frustration died down a bit, but we have had a family dinner Saturday and the issue came back up again. Background: brother-in-law has a 15-year-old daughter. Fuck, they're using letters as a name. No, I hate it when people do this. I'm gonna call her Beatrice. Brother-in-law has a 15-year-old daughter, Beatrice, from outside their marriage. Never once denied her. She's his firstborn. Beatrice has been in our lives since she was a baby. Wait, so your brother-in-law cheated on your sister? B's been in our lives since she was a baby. So your brother-in-law had a daughter that is not your sister's, but it's been in your life since you were a baby. So like, maybe the child was born before their marriage? I mean, maybe. That's what I'm trying to figure out. How did this child come to be? Is this an affair child and you're just dancing around it? Had a kid before sister and brother-in-law got together. I mean, that's crazy though. I guess baby could encompass a lot of things. Like, I guess technically like a 2-year-old or 1-year-old still kind of a baby. I don't know, man. Whatever. I guess he didn't say that the brother-in-law cheated. I'm just trying to understand why he... The never once denied her part is fucking with me. I'm like, what do you mean? I sure hope so. That's his fucking kid. I love them all, so no bias when I say Beatrice is spoiled. The biggest problem is Beatrice has had a huge issue wasting food. She will load up her plate, eat less than 30%, then throw the rest in the trash every time. I brought this up to my sister and brother-in-law multiple times. Nothing done. I have no issues with her eating as much as she can, but she overloads her plate, then throws what's left in the trash. When I brought this up during family dinners, her parents excused it as her not liking leftovers, and that at least she cleans her plate. In parentheses, throwing what's left in the trash and rinsing her plate to put in the sink. I asked why don't they pack it up as leftovers for themselves, and was told we'll do that from now on. They didn't. All right, chat, maybe this is just the childhood trauma kicking in because my parents would have never fucking let this fly. Don't get me wrong, this definitely goes too far, but like, I've always looked at food as a privilege. If you are lucky enough to have food in front of you, you do not intentionally waste it. That has just always kind of been how I was raised. And like, I try never to take that for granted because there are lots of people out there who don't have food security. So like, to me, this is a little ridiculous. Like, even more than just the food, y'all. Like, I feel like if you're raising someone to be like this, where they're just throwing out food all the time, you're almost kind of like raising someone to be like wasteful and ungrateful of like the fact that they can waste. Do y'all see what I'm saying? Like, I think it goes into the spoiled part, you know? My parents would have spanked my ass for that. Okay, sorry, I don't agree with your parents doing that to you. I should clarify. But my parents also were like, you gotta eat your food. You're not allowed to leave until you eat your food because you're lucky to have food in front of you. Yeah, exactly. I put plastic wrap on a plate and make my son eat it for breakfast. I think that's even better. Like, hey, if you can't eat all of your food, I get it. I'm not gonna force you to eat all of your food because that does create eating disorders and whatnot. That being said, we shouldn't normalize just wasting the food. You know, it's the mean between two extremes. You have being way too aggressive about someone eating their food, but then you have people just wasting food for the hell of it. And you gotta find somewhere in the middle where it's like, hey, we don't waste this food, but I'm not gonna pressure you to like eat all of it all the time. We just don't waste it. Yeah, I just give my kid a smaller amount to start and she'll ask for more. She's still hungry. That's how I feel, man. The dinner before last, I organized everything, in parentheses, I usually do. And when we sat down for dinner, I handed my niece a plate. She said, oh, and took the plate. I told her she can always get seconds once she's finished. A day after, I got a text from my sister saying I humiliated my niece because she was the only teenager who was not allowed to make her own plate, and that I treated her like she was greedy. I don't know if I would use the word greedy, but like wasteful, maybe a little bit spoiled. Also, like, I'll say it, I never would have noticed this as a kid. Like, humiliation Humiliated is such a stretch to me. That's not humiliation, man. We've been on Reddit long enough to know that there are plenty of other ways that other people have been humiliated that's way worse than just somebody giving you a plate full of food that you won't waste. I don't mind her taking as much as she can eat. In fact, at one point, the family was worried she had an eating disorder and was loading her plate to mask how much she was actually eating. But it wasn't that. She eats, but she's also not overeating. She just overloads her plate and wastes what's left. She even did the same thing with cake, which I didn't serve her. Took 2 slices to start, ate 1 slice, scraped the frosting off the other slice, and threw the remaining cake in the trash. Not wasting food is something that was greatly instilled to all of us as kids, so my reaction is just instinctual. This last dinner, I said nothing, but my brother-in-law kept making passive-aggressive comments anytime any of their kids went into the kitchen to get something. Even drinks. Like, did you ask your uncle first? Make sure your uncle's okay with that. Make sure you didn't take more than you're allowed. Bro, this guy sounds fucking insufferable. And BS like that. I didn't want to talk to him and start something, so I asked my sister and she said, well, this is what you wanted, right? It has never been about permission. Now I feel like they're making me the bad guy to my nieces and nephews. So, honest question from an outside perspective, was I the a-hole in this situation? Nah, dude, I think you need to clarify your stance. Also, are you the only one ever hosting dinner? I don't know. My fucking petty ass would go to their place for dinner, load my plate, and then throw it away just to like prove my point of like, oh, sorry, is this annoying where I load up on all the food that you worked so hard making and then throw 70% of it into the trash? Like, I'm an asshole, bro. I'd be like, all right, y'all want to fucking play this game? Y'all want to be some passive-aggressive, petty-ass bitch who may or may not have cheated on his wife? I genuinely don't really know what the never once denied her thing is about. I'm so confused about that. Like, I don't know, bro. Reddit has to be on their side, right? Your niece is 15. She's old enough to understand that the waste is the issue. Exactly. I'm more worried about your fucking sister and your brother-in-law. Next time your brother-in-law and sister start their passive-aggressive BS, correct them in front of everyone. Then explain to your niece that she is welcome to eat as much as she wants, but wastage is not okay, and ask her to please only take what she will actually eat and come back for seconds if she's still hungry. Ooh, that's a good point, actually. Okay, you know what? I guess OP didn't really explain to the niece why she was getting her own plate, which I gotta say is a major fucky wucky, actually. Like, how is that person supposed to change their behavior if you don't correct the behavior? To be honest, you're not much different from the brother-in-law saying something passive-aggressive. Like, that actually was a little bit of a passive-aggressive approach. And who knows, maybe OP did this and they just didn't tell us, but like, you gotta give them the plate and be like, hey, I've noticed you waste a lot of food. I will be serving you until you learn how to serve enough for yourself that you don't waste food. We do not waste food here. You're lucky to have this food in front of you. You wasting it is disrespectful to me and to other people who don't have as much food security as you do. Her parents told her, didn't they? I doubt it, kitten. I doubt that these parents sat down with their child and was like, yeah, even though we're defending you and saying that you were humiliated, we're gonna explain why you were humiliated. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think so. These parents don't sound competent to me. These parents don't even sound like they're on the same page. It sounds like the parents probably let this happen underneath their roof, you know? Sometimes you need somebody else to call you out on your shit to realize that the norm in your household isn't what should be normal, you know? How does a teenager not know that it's shitty behavior to be so wasteful? I mean, listen, I'm the firm belief that like you can't expect humans to spawn on this earth with all the right opinions about stuff. Like, it sounds like this kid is spoiled. They probably aren't exposed to other kids who aren't food secure, and therefore like they just walk around being like, yeah, this is normal. I don't even really blame the teenager. I blame the parents, you know? I wasn't super exposed to kids when I was younger who, at least like face value, I knew were super food insecure, because like I'm lucky. Kathy and Scotty Boy worked hard. They had me in like nice schools and things like that, and I just never remember having people around who showed me that food insecurity, probably until I was in high school. But like my parents made sure that I knew that I wasn't allowed to waste food because there were other people in the world who weren't as fortunate as I was. I don't know. I think it's not okay to blame her necessarily. Just like, oh, default settings, you're just supposed to know this. Like, I don't think that's the case. Am I the a-hole for telling my brother his new girlfriend is way too young for him? So my brother is 32 male and he's been dating this girl for about 3 months. She's 19 female. I'm 28 female. I know 32 and 19 is a big age gap, but it's more than that. She seems like a really sweet kid. Ooh. It's bad when you're referring to your 32-year-old brother's partner as a kid. She seems like a really sweet kid, and I don't think she's a bad person or anything, but she has literally zero life experience. And that's why you don't date a 19-year-old at that age. She's still figuring out what she wants to do with her life. She's never lived alone. She's never had a serious job. My brother, on the other hand, is really settled. He has a great career, owns his own home, and is talking about marriage and kids like it's already a given. After 3 months? I know this is your brother and you probably don't want to hear this, but like that is probably a control thing. Like he is going after the impressionable 19-year-old that doesn't know what they want to do with their life to lock them down and live the life that he wants her to live with him. After 3 months is insane. I brought it up to him because I was worried about him and also worried about her. I told him I thought she was way too young and inexperienced to be thinking about marriage and kids with him, and that he was going to end up hurting her or vice versa. He got really defensive and told me it was none of my business and that I was being judgmental, as she should be. He said he's happy and that's all that matters. Nope. That's not all that matters. You know, I stabbed that guy, but it made me happy, and that's all that matters. Like, what are we fucking talking about? Now he's barely talking to me. I honestly thought I was looking out for both of them, but maybe I overstepped. Am I the a-hole? Jesus Christ, not the a-hole. Great sister, you know? Like, that's what a sibling is for, to call you out because they're the closest thing that you should have that you can always rely on to tell you when you're messing up. Listen, this is 2 paragraphs. I'm pulling this out of my ass. But if I had to put money on it, I think your brother's probably a bad person. Something about talking about marriage and kids with a 19-year-old after you've been dating him for 3 months screams he's a shitty red-pilled man. Call me crazy for leaping to those conclusions, but I'm picking up on patterns here. Bro, I need to see what the comments are saying. They have to be ripping him a new asshole. Does he hang out with 19-year-old boys too? Reminds me of a comment that someone made to Jake Gyllenhaal because he kept referring to his co-star Tom Holland as kid, yet his girlfriend is the same age. I didn't even know that, bro. Holy fuck. Not the a-hole. I was the 19-year-old girl who married the 32-year-old man. He was fun. He was my best friend. But when he turned 40, I realized that I had grown up and he wasn't going to grow up any more than he already had. Damn. That's something I didn't even think about either. I mean, also, girl, you were low-key groomed. Just because it's legal doesn't mean it's okay. I'm gonna be honest with you. I've been in this situation, except I was the 19-year-old. I don't know what the hell I was thinking, but I'm so glad I did not marry him. In parentheses, and he did want to get married. I feel like he wanted to date me because I was young and he thought he could get away with more if he didn't date a woman his own age. Yeah, and I think that usually is the case. Like, there is always going to be a power dynamic between guy who has a career, is mature, and therefore you're always going to default to whatever they say because they're older and more mature, so they know better, which just puts you in a position of always doing what they want, even if it's not right, but they have that power dynamic. He has the money, so he's probably paying for stuff. Like, it just is a bad dynamic. I'm not saying that's what your brother thinks, but there are definitely men out there who think that way. That a younger woman will put up with stuff that a more mature one won't. I think there's also a very good chance that if they did get married, she would come to regret settling down so young. Your brother knows he's being gross and that's why he's defensive. Yeah, at least OP is identifying that this is gross of her brother. This is from 20 days ago, bro. I need to check if there's any updates. Are Latter-day Saints Christian? The U.S. Defense Department doesn't appear to think so. Dude, are they Mormon? Oh my God, that would make so much fucking sense. Yikes, bro. That's so insane. Oh, dude, I didn't even read it. I had a Mormon go in my Instagram DMs trying to like justify Mormonism to me, and I was like, I didn't respond, but I was like, I'm not fucking reading this. I'm sorry, you just can't convince me. Mormonism is insane. Not only the values and ethics that they hide in between their good values and good ethics, but also like just genuinely, if you look at the history of that thing, it is fucking insane. Am I the a-hole for asking my boyfriend not to stick chopsticks upright in his rice? I'm Japanese, 40 female, and in my culture, sticking chopsticks upright into a bowl of rice is considered disrespectful because it's traditionally done at funerals or as an offering to the deceased. Today at home, my boyfriend, 36 male, who is non-Japanese, stuck his chopsticks vertically into his rice. I politely told him that it's considered disrespectful in my culture and asked if he could lay them across the bowl instead. He immediately said it was silly and refused, saying they'd fall off. I told him they wouldn't, but then he said he wasn't eating Japanese food, so it didn't matter. I explained that it isn't about the food, it's about how the chopsticks are placed. It's also about respecting your partner's culture. He responded that we're not in Japan and that he wasn't changing what he was doing because he thought it was silly. That is literally the thought process of a toddler. Like, that's some shit I would expect from a 4-year-old. I calmly said I was only asking for a small favor out of respect for my culture. He then sharply replied, fine, I'll just use forks from now on. So I took the chopsticks away and handed him a fork. What upset me was how he immediately dismissed my request as silly, instead of making such a small accommodation. No, that was what I was thinking in my head I wanted to point out. Like, all he had to do was pull chopsticks out, lay them on the side. Like, if your partner makes a big deal out of not doing that, they're a fucking dickhead. If you were telling him to fucking take those chopsticks out and shove them up his asshole, that's a crazy ask. That's wild. That's something you gotta think about. Unless he's into that. I don't know. Maybe he is. But like, to just take them out from the rice and put them down on the side, and he's refusing to do that? Does your partner respect you? Respect your opinions? Respect your culture? I got quite angry and said, you're just like all the other white people who love anime and collect figures, but don't actually care about Japanese culture. Damn! I mean, she cooking. He was shocked by that, and later told me I was petty, cynical, and intentionally trying to hurt his feelings. Pot, kettle, black, you know the phrase. I gave an example of how whenever I have dinner with him and his family, they say grace before eating. I'm not religious, and I didn't grow up doing that, but I do it anyways because I know it's meaningful to them. He responded that religion and culture aren't the same thing. Once again, the Sky Daddy stands with some terrible rhetoric. It's different because I don't want to go to hell. He also told me that during couples counseling, our counselor said we shouldn't have expectations of each other. I told him that's not why I was upset. I'm not angry because he didn't meet an expectation I had. I'm upset at how he immediately dismissed my request as silly and refused to make such a small gesture out of respect for my culture. No, for real. We're not talking about expectations. We're talking about not disrespecting your partner. Like, I'm sure your counselor would tell you that disrespecting your partner and her culture and further doubling down on it when they ask you not to do it is not how you have a healthy relationship. So Redditors, am I the a-hole for asking him to not put chopsticks upright on rice since we are not living in Japan? I don't understand this. Like, the request is so tiny. Even if you have an issue with it, just do it, because it's the person that you supposedly, allegedly love. It's so easy. Like, it's not like you having your chopsticks in the rice upright makes or breaks something in your life that's important. Like, it's so easy. I don't get it. It's the small things in life and doing the small things in relationships that I think make healthy relationships. Just showing up every day and showing that your partner matters to you. And what OP's husband just did showed that she doesn't matter to him. Her wanting her partner to have respect for her culture doesn't matter to him. And that's fucked up. If you're in a relationship and you don't respect your partner's culture, you're a dickhead. Oh, that's also a good thing to point out, TM. He's weaponizing the counselor's words. Absolutely agree. Props to you guys for going to couples counseling. I could probably make the assumption that the fact that you guys are going to couples counseling means that your relationship ain't so solid anyways. But good on you guys for at least doing that. But when he's doing that and then weaponizing what the counselor says to fit his disrespectful behavior, it might be time to snip, snip, chop, chop that shit. A request is not an expectation. Exactly. Like, don't get me wrong. I think there are requests that aren't valid, right? My chopsticks up the ass thing was kind of an explicit, funny, like, haha, no way request. But like, genuinely, if somebody requested that of me, I'd be like, hey, that's crazy. That crosses my boundaries. We need to talk about that one. But when the request is don't disrespect my culture and all you have to do is a task that will literally take you 1 second, yeah, that's a pretty fucking awful thing. Am I the a-hole for mentioning I am also a professional when a doctor took over 45 minutes to finally appear at an appointment? I want to start by saying that I understand doctors are busy. I do not make an issue of reasonable delays, especially because the doctors are very apologetic when they do come in to see me. In fact, I have not experienced a doctor delay that was more than 15 minutes in I don't know how long. Anyway, today I took my kid to a midday pediatric dermatology appointment. Since my kid's issue is minor, I scheduled a client meeting for later in the afternoon, figuring we had more than enough time to get the issue checked out and for me to get to the meeting. My kid and I got to the doctor's office early and were called back right around the time it was scheduled. The nurse checked us in, we waited 10 minutes for the resident to come look at my kid, and then we were told that the main doctor would be right in to finalize everything. We were 25 minutes into our appointment and the doctor still hadn't shown up. At this point, a nurse came in to say that the doctor was just finishing up with another patient and would come right in. Fine. But 15 minutes later and still no show. So I approached the nurse to ask when we can realistically expect the doctor to see us. She said the doctor is with another patient. She'll be with you in 10 to 15 minutes. I was admittedly exasperated since it had been 40 minutes past our appointment time and I needed to leave soon. I responded, in parentheses, not angrily, no yelling, nothing like that. We've been waiting a really long time. I am also a professional and I have a meeting that I have to attend. So I do need to wrap this appointment up. 5 minutes later, the doctor finally came in parentheses, 45 minutes after after our appointment time, didn't apologize for the delay, didn't even look at me when I said something, and began speaking directly to my preteen kid without asking me anything about the condition. Overall, it was an annoying experience. Anyway, after the appointment, my kid said it was embarrassing when I mentioned that I'm a professional, but my reasoning is that I am a professional. My time is as valuable as the doctor's, even though I was not being treated as such. And the delay was not only frustrating in and of itself, but it was also affecting my ability to do my own job. So Reddit, am I the a-hole for mentioning that I'm a professional? There is like an edit with some more information. I want to comment on this as is because at the end of the day, I think it is okay for you to point out when someone is not doing what their job should entail. Like, I'm dubious about this doctor is with another patient because what that tells me is like y'all had some sort of system that's broken that's allowing for your appointments to be pushed 45 minutes back, which is crazy. Like, that's not how a doctor's office should operate. Either you guys are allowing your clients to come in so late that it affects your other clients' appointments, and that's not okay, or you guys aren't managing like, hey, the appointment for one reason or another started super late and you're gonna have a long wait time. Are you okay with that, or can we reschedule this? Like, that's how you professionally handle it. And I think OP is gonna go into like what they mean by they're a professional. I don't know, maybe some people are gonna be like, well, he's a doctor and what he does is more important, but like a professional is a professional. Like, in a lot of ways, I'm a professional. I'm a professional at what I do. I do my absolute dandiest to show up to meetings, appointments, whatever it be, on time, because that's just what you do, no matter what your profession is. Some doctors overschedule, and I would argue that that's unprofessional. Don't overschedule. Why would you think that that's an okay thing to do? Unless there was a literal emergency and crisis, valid, and the doctor should have explained. Here's the thing, is then you say, hey, the doctor's dealing with a literal emergency and crisis. We need to reschedule. You don't make them sit there for 45 minutes. And also, you don't be disrespectful to them when they do wait 45 minutes afterwards. Like, you tell them, hey, I appreciate you waiting. I apologize. There was an emergency. What can I do here? That's what the professional thing to do is. Yeah, regardless, everyone's time should be respected. Absolutely, TM. I agree with that. I think not respecting someone's time is one of the most disrespectful things you can do. And I understand that sometimes you do that on accident, and like, all you have to do is just acknowledge like, oh shit, I'm sorry. That's my bad. But like, it doesn't even sound like they could do that here. And like, I think you should tell your kid, like, more than anything, you have to be like, hey, your time is valuable. Because they're not respecting my time, I might run late to this client meeting, and that pays my bills, which allows you to be able to go to the doctor, which allows you to eat food, which allows you to have a roof over your head. Like, that's disrespectful of the doctor. Just because your profession is like harder to get the degree for doesn't make you more of a professional than like me, who's a YouTuber. And I know that's crazy to say because all I do is sit here and haha he he, but like, I too would be annoyed if someone disrespects my time, because that's time that I could spend streaming, editing videos for my audience. And like, I have a right to be upset about that. And I think if you think that I don't have a right to be upset about that, there's something wrong with you. Chat, let's read these edits real quick. OP has a lot to say. Let's look at them. To respond to some common comments. 1, my stating I was professional was in relation to the doctor, not other people. As in, hey doctor, other people also have jobs, so can you please respect our time too? It was not intended to imply that my job is more important than other people's jobs, only that my job was as important as the doctor's job. For people who are arguing that my professional comment somehow excludes tradespeople, you clearly don't know a lot of tradespeople. What? That's such a stretch, bro. Like, when they said professional, like, I'm roping in me as a YouTuber. Like, I could see people stretching that further than tradespeople. Like, tradespeople are professionals. 2, I have 2 kids, so I've been to plenty of appointments both for them and for me, and in all that time, I've never experienced a delay of more than 15 minutes, including for afternoon appointments. That's why scheduling a client meeting after the appointment did not feel unreasonable. 3, my kids' doctors have always greeted me first. I cannot remember a single time when a doctor for one of my kids greeted them first. I mean, 2, I think it's just like, if there's a minor involved, you should really talk to the parent quite a bit. And there should be a respect of like, I'm talking to both the minor and the parent. 4, both the doctor and I are women. 5, I did not yell or raise my voice at the nurse. At most, I was exasperated when she said another 10 to 15 minute wait. And then there's one final edit. I admit that referring to myself as a professional was a-hole behavior. Really? Is that what we're saying in the comments? Damn, are people actually kind of defending the doctor in these comments? I know how doctors roll and that they get caught up with people that have more difficult cases than my own. I plan for it to take forever, and I'm always pleasantly surprised when it doesn't. I mean, good for you, but like, kind of fuck that. Yeah, wait, because people are saying doctors talk to the patient. Her talking to your son is not undermining you. But like, I'm with you, Chris. In my experience, doctors always acknowledge me before my minor child. Also, and maybe too, like being acknowledged first might be like a whatever thing to say. But like, I think the fact of the matter is the doctor completely disregarded OP because clearly the nurse had told the doctor that she was upset that she had to wait 45 minutes and the doctor was giving her some attitude. Which, like, to me, if you make someone wait 45 minutes for you, whether that's a reasonable reason or not, you need to at least be aware that that is something that's massively annoying. Honestly, y'all, I'm gonna say it. This comment is insane to me. Don't get me wrong. I think being like doctors have an important job of like helping sick people and like emergencies pop up, but like that doesn't mean that they just get to completely disrespect and disregard your time. The respectful thing to do in this situation is for the nurse to come up to you after like a 20 to 25 minute wait and say, hey, the doctor is dealing with an emergency right now. He probably won't be in here for a while. Would you like to reschedule your appointment? Or she. Sorry, the doctor's a she. It shouldn't just be like, oh, well, doctor do important things, so fuck your time. Like, this is a little bit of a like a rollover and fucking let people walk all over you. Like, I don't fuck with this. Try not to plan things after a medical appointment. It's risky and you lost on that risk. This is crazy to me. God forbid this woman do her job. I don't know, bro. I think these comments are stupid. Being honest about wait times is important. They drop the ball there. It's better to say it might be a while than to keep leading you on. Why is nobody giving verdicts? Like, all these people that are commenting are kind of cowards. Not a verdict. No verdict in this one. No verdict in this one. Listen, maybe OP could have dealt with it better. But I think all of us should be annoyed when people don't respect their time. And I think that's okay. Why are we sitting here in the comments being like, yeah, bro, it's completely okay. It's completely okay when you're getting walked all over. I don't agree with that. I really don't. Like, yeah, maybe what OP said was like hotty-toddy, but also like I would kind of be hotty-toddy in this. I'd be like, be professional. Yeah, I see someone saying everyone sucks here. I don't agree with that. I think this is not the a-hole. I think OP has a right to be like, be better. OP is the a-hole the self-importance showed. I don't agree with that. Y'all, I think there's a difference between self-importance and just being like, hey, bro, you need to respect me. Don't get me wrong. I think there's a little bit of an argument of a fine line that we're walking here. But to me, like, OP didn't do anything egregious that I'm like, oh my God, you're so full of yourself. OP's just saying, hey, I've learned how to respect people's time in my profession. You should learn how to do the same. I think that's valid. And I think OP was pointing out more of the attitude of the doctor, of the fact that the doctor didn't even acknowledge that she was in the room with her. I don't know, man. I think the comments are not cooking here. They're just on like the doctor's dick here. The comment, I'm a professional. I mean, maybe, but I don't think that makes them the a-hole. I mean, is she wrong? She is a professional. To me, it's a stretch. Like, she wouldn't have had to make that comment if they just respected her time. That was a dermatology appointment, not somebody that deals with that extreme of emergencies. Okay, Xavier, my grandpa was a dermatologist and my aunt's a dermatologist. There are, contrary to popular belief, dermatology emergencies. I want to clarify that. I don't think we can just blanket statement like there's no such thing as a dermatology emergency, because that's just not true. Like, I know for a fact that's not true. I'm not trying to take away from the fact that there could have been some sort of emergency that made sense for the doctor to do that, but it's disrespectful to, when somebody has an appointment time, not be truthful and update them properly. Like, I'm sitting here, chat, and I'm like, I too would have been annoyed by this. And that person who's like, don't schedule stuff after a doctor's appointment. Like, what, am I supposed to just like make a doctor's appointment and then fuck off the rest of the day? Because who knows if that doctor's appointment is gonna take all day? That's stupid. If I make an appointment, it doesn't matter with who. If I make an appointment, I'm expecting that the allotted appointment time that they branch out for me is the time that I'm gonna be spending there. Maybe you leave 30 minutes of leeway before and after. Maybe. But it sounds like it was like bleeding into further than that. Yeah, the doctor should have apologized for being late and greet them. Exactly. Just the fact that the doctor didn't do that makes me think that even if you want to argue that the doctor needs to greet the patient, not the parent, whatever. If that's really your stance, fine. But the fact that she didn't even address that she's 45 minutes late is fucking annoying and disrespectful. If you show up late to a meeting, address it. Hey, I'm so sorry for that. I was dealing with an emergency. What can I do for you? Bing, bow, blam. If you're showing up 45 fucking minutes late, you better be on your best behavior for me. Chat, I never actually finished reading the edit. I admit that referring to myself as a professional was a-hole behavior and that I could have conveyed the same sentiment by just saying that my time is also valuable. I have apologized to my kid for this and they accepted my apology. While I acknowledge that other people have regularly experienced long wait times, I have not. I'm sorry if you think that makes this post fake, but I'm very lucky to have been seen promptly by nearly every doctor going on for over 10 years, from pediatricians to eye doctors to my own PCP to specialists. Are we just okay with like making appointments and being like, well, they're the doctor, they're allowed to completely disregard my time? Like, I'm not saying the doctor shouldn't be allowed to have to handle emergencies, but like at least take care of the people that you're disregarding because you're handling the emergency, you know? Call me crazy. I think the comments are not cooking. The comments really latched onto this woman caring a lot about their job and their profession, and for some reason that pissed them the fuck off. I think it's okay to be like, this is not professional behavior. I think if anything, OP was pointing out them being a professional because she was trying to emphasize their unprofessional behavior. Could they have probably said it a lot better? Yeah, weird one. Didn't fuck with that one. My ex-girlfriend has taken a new job 100 miles from home and is planning on commuting. Am I the a-hole for not changing my work arrangements to suit her? Oh, maybe they have a kid or something. Hold on. My ex-girlfriend and I separated 7 years ago, and we have a daughter together while I have 2 daughters from a previous relationship. We have both moved on with our lives. In parentheses, I'm due to marry in 18 months, and she got engaged last Christmas. And we have shared custody of our daughter 50-50. On the days I have my daughter, I have to collect and leave her to school, and she would organize the other days, which means I have to leave work early on days and arrive late on days. Thankfully, my employer has been very understanding and has accommodated my situation as long as hours are made up, which would involve me being available on weekends for emergencies. Not an ideal situation, but it works. So that was confusing, but I think what OP was basically saying was on the days that he has his daughter, he has to leave work early and arrive late to work some days when he's with his daughter because he's taking her to school. Anyways, the ex has taken up a job 100 miles away and her plan is to commute daily. I have my opinions on that, but not my monkey, not my circus. She had arranged for her dad to collect daughter on her days and what seems like a noble idea and a great solution. Reality is set in and he finds his days are restricted, either collecting daughter or leaving to school, and the novelty has passed and pretty much told her that he won't be as available as he promised. Now this leaves her pretty much up shit creek as she has no one else to call upon to collect and leave to school. She has asked me to work from home 3 to 4 days per week, which would allow her to continue her role 100 miles away and ensure daughter is collected on time each day. This isn't an option for me, and in telling her that I can't accept these changes, she's accusing me of clinging to the past, being bitter about the breakup, and doing my best to sabotage and stifle her career. Am I the a-hole? We have a daughter together while I have 2 daughters from a previous relationship. So are you not taking your daughters to school? Like, are you guys picking up what I'm putting down? I don't understand the logistics of this family. Is that weird? Am I the only one? Like, okay, so you have 2 daughters from a previous relationship. Are you also sharing custody with them? You made it sound like you have them full time. So like, are you not taking them to school every day? How are they getting to school? Someone said, bro hasn't heard of condoms. I'm actually on the same page as you guys. Like, dude, like fucking slap that shit on. What are we doing, dog? Okay, here's the thing, you guys. This might be crazy, controversial. I think this is a little everyone sucks here. Like, it seems too much of like, oh, well, she's my ex and she's inconveniencing my life. I should, but like, where's the, okay, this is my daughter. I need to figure it the fuck out. You know what I'm saying? And like, I'm very privileged. I grew up with a great mother and father that like, when they were presented with a situation, it was like, not yes or no. It was like, if my child has this thing that they have to be at, how do we make that happen? Do we join a carpool group? Do we befriend parents? What do we do so that my child ends up where they need to go for their activities? Especially for school, I feel like that's bare minimum. And like now I'm like, okay, so on your normal days, like, do you not take your daughter to school? Like, I just don't understand the logistics of this. I think part of it is everyone sucks here, and also I need more information. Like, to me, there's an easy way that you guys can both make this arrangement work while also mainly prioritizing what's best for your daughter. I just feel like it's a little all over the place of like, it's not cut and paste. Are you the a-hole? It's like, I feel like you might not just be doing enough. I forgot to say why she's the a-hole, but Spawn Point Zero kind of put it best. This type of thing is a shared responsibility. She made this decision and put him in a position where he has kind of no choice. I agree, Spawn Point Zero, but at the same time, like, that is a part of parenting, even if you guys are separated. You know what I'm saying? Like, you guys had that fucking kid and brought it unconsensually into the world. Like, you better damn take care of that kid the best way possible. Assuming you're both parents, it's seeing both of those parents, so 50-50 custody, and then on top of that, making sure that kid gets to school. Like, I'm sorry, bro, if you didn't want the responsibility of taking care of a child, put on the fucking condom. I'm sorry, man. Your balls are in a vice on this one, just by the fact that you let those balls produce a cum souvenir. Call me crazy for saying that the kid should be prioritized. Honestly, guys, I kind of want to look at the comments. Like, I'm very curious what people are saying in the comments here. Okay, people are saying not the a-hole. None of this is your problem. It is moronic to drive 200 miles a day. Okay, I can't lie. That is kind of fucking crazy now that you put it that way. Like, for some reason in my head, 100 miles wasn't that crazy to me, but now I'm like, holy fuck, that's insane. Even the IRS allows you to charge off 72.5 cents per mile for an uncompensated auto use for business purposes. This does not account for the 35% increase in gasoline price so far this year. The mom is easily spending $125 a day commuting. That's not counting 4 to 5 hours of unpaid personal time being given away to her employment. I gather math wasn't the mom's best subject in high school. That doesn't make any sense to me, actually. $125 a day? Wait, hold on. Sorry. This comment is fucking with me because I'm like, you don't know the gas mileage on her car. Sorry guys, I'm crashing out. I think this comment is one of those comments where it looks very authoritative because they threw numbers at us, but this makes no fucking sense. Like in my RAV4, all right? And granted, I'm really lucky. It's a hybrid. RAV4s in general, even hybrid or not, have really good gas mileage. Like I could go 2 days without filling my gas on the RAV4. Easy. And I would be spending $40. So like, unless her gas mileage is like 5 to 10 miles per gallon, like this is just not real. Like, this is just an example of a guy putting numbers out there, and then everybody was like, yeah, bro, that makes sense. We want a reason to shit on the woman. For sure, bro. Yeah, $125 a day. That makes sense. Get it, chat? I'm using a Republican voice because Republicans be doing that all the time. Okay, I want to acknowledge Bouncy Ball. You're right. It's still insane to make the commute on the regular. We don't know, though. Like, maybe the job offered to compensate her well for the commute. Like, we don't know what the job is, bro. Like, fuck, I think if the job paid $200,000 a year, I think a lot of us would be like, all right, maybe it makes sense. You know? I don't think it's terrible. It probably wasn't the smartest with your current situation and your custody with your child, but like, I think if someone, and granted, I'm making up shit. So like, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this was really stupid for the ex-girlfriend to take this job. But as easily as we could go, this doesn't make sense, we could also make an argument for it does make sense. I do think it needs more information. And I feel like the comments on this aren't making me confident that the smartest people ever are on Reddit. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Maybe the comment section will prove me wrong. This genuinely would not apply to me. I don't know why he even brought this up, because like the IRS allows you to charge off 72.5 cents per mile. Like that would subtract from the amount. Like if I drove 200 miles for my business, I would have to pay for the 200 miles of gas, but then I could charge off 72.5 cents per mile for each 200. So like if anything, it would bring down the $40 I spent on gas, which now it might be a little bit more, maybe it's 50, but it would bring that down to like maybe $30. So I'd be losing like $30. I don't know. This doesn't make any fucking sense to me. She can hire someone to babysit and pick up from school. I sure hope so. Like that's the only reason in my head why you would take a 200-mile commute per day job, is if it was making you enough to where you could hire somebody to do those things for you, you know? Yeah, I think I glazed over it. This is a ridiculous request, which is why I went with everyone sucks here plus needs more info. Like, I think there's a way to do it, but everyone around is just acting a fool. Am I the a-hole for yelling at an obese woman in a movie theater? Hi, everyone. Tonight, I went to the movies to see The Backrooms with my partner. We arrived just as the movie started, settled in, and began watching. About 30 to 45 minutes into the movie, a couple came and sat right next to us. Usually, I wouldn't care if someone comes in late to a movie, as I know I have before. However, this couple came in making a ridiculous amount of noise. I'm talking multiple wrappers of food getting tossed around and crinkled every few seconds. Non-stop chatter between the two of them for, I'm not even kidding, 15 minutes. The woman kept burping loudly in between them talking to each other. They were half whispering, but in a silent theater, it was incredibly noticeable and enraging. That woman also kept obnoxiously pointing at the screen and going, ooh, ooh, look at that, to her boyfriend, of like completely non-eventful shots from the film, and then would loudly kiss him. After putting up with this for roughly 20 minutes, I finally snapped. I turned to them and loudly said, are you two going to keep talking or can you shut the fuck up? It's extremely distracting. That is totally fair in this situation. Like, normalize public shame. Normalize when people are not being respectful of the people around them, calling them out on it. Yeah, this is crazy to me, Chicken Sandwich, because the obesity thing hasn't come up yet. I wonder if this is gonna be like a you're only saying that to me because type thing. They just stared at me and then didn't talk for the rest of the movie, so I guess mission accomplished. I know I probably shouldn't have cursed, but at a certain point, it's just ridiculous how some people don't give a single fuck about the people around them. Same kind of people who cut you off in traffic while drooling on their phones. Anyways, that's it. Let me know if I was the a-hole. Wait, why did you have to clarify that it was an obese woman? Like, at no point did the woman's weight come into this story. You just decided to throw that on as like free DLC? Edit, I realize now how offensive it was to mention the couple's weight in the title as it was not relevant to my complaint with them. Thank you to those in the comments who made me realize that. I was clouded by my anger and personal bias. I will work on my mindset moving forward. Okay, wait. So the mod team for Am I the A-hole said, can replies focus on the question in the post rather than on the title, please? But like, the title kind of makes OP the a-hole in my opinion. Like, don't get me wrong, in this particular situation, yeah, sure, you should have yelled at them, but you adding in the title that this woman was obese was either a ploy for you to get more clicks and upvotes and comments or whatever on this post, and or is you being a dickhead trying to put this woman down for no reason. Like, if you would have said, am I the a-hole for yelling at an annoyingly loud woman in a movie theater, I would have been okay with that because that's accurate to the issue at hand. Calling her obese is just you being a fucking dickhead. And like, I don't think we should ignore that. I think we should point that out. And it sounds like that's what everybody did. And OP learned from that, maybe. Yeah, you guys are saying it. Not the a-hole for the confrontation, but a-hole for feeling like they needed to clarify that. Damn, this is like a very real... Oh... Of course, it's a graduate of ASU, bro. Are we shocked? #1 in innovating a clickbait title to fat shame someone. Sorry, I'm from Arizona, and I think ASU is kind of silly sometimes. OP didn't really reply to too many comments, I don't think. Or maybe they did. I was not rage baiting. I had a moment of weakness and succumbed to prejudice. I will work on myself so it doesn't happen again. All right, well, hopefully OP learns from this. That's all we can really hope from it, but... like, I feel like it's necessary to point that out. Like, bro is the a-hole for that specifically. Like, am I the a-hole for yelling at a black guy in a movie theater? It would be sus to mention their race. It feels similar. I agree. Absolutely. Oh, shit. I apologize to you guys. I should have clarified that ASU is Arizona State University. I forget that some of y'all aren't Americans. Listen, ASU isn't a bad college. My sister went there and she got a great education, but it's pretty stereotypically known as like kind of a college where a lot of bad people go. Which, to be fair, I went to Iowa State. I'm sure they also have some shitheads that go to that school. Maybe me included. I don't know. I guess it depends on your opinion of shithead. Am I the a-hole for expecting a 19-year-old and a 21-year-old to contribute financially? 5 years ago, my male 53 stepdaughter, now 19, started dating a boy who was 16. Ooh. My wife, female 43, allowed him on occasion to spend the night. Sarby, I might KMS if there's another insane story. Yeah. Oh my God. 3 in a row, bro. Jesus. When he wasn't allowed, he'd sneak in, hide in the closet, hide under the bed, or break into vacant apartments near us. In parentheses, he was arrested for trespassing. Also in parentheses, his home is 100 miles away. Might be a controversial take, chat, but this is the point where you kick the 19-year-old out. I guess it's OP's stepdaughter. I don't know. This would be fucking insane to me. If the person that I married was allowing their 19-year-old stepdaughter to date a 16-year-old, I'd be like, we might need to pull the plug on this marriage. Like, oh shit. If I'd give in and say he could stay one night, it would turn into 7. My wife has zero ability to tell her daughter what to do. After she graduated high school, she moved to another state, leaving him behind. Was she still in high school at this time? Okay. She told my wife she realized she would never get away from him if she stayed home and he would hold her back. Okay, that's crazy. You came to that very mature conclusion, but you couldn't come to the conclusion that as a 19-year-old, you probably shouldn't be dating a 16-year-old? My greatest fear was that he would get her pregnant. He wouldn't be able to take care of her, and he didn't graduate high school, and raising the baby would fall on me and my wife. Oh, I see what you guys are saying in chat. Oh my God, okay. God, that's such a terrible way to put that. Okay, sorry guys. For the story, OP started it saying 5 years ago. So the stepdaughter was 14 when she started dating the 16-year-old. I mean, listen, I don't think that's as ew, chat. Okay, so just to reiterate the timeline here, because I confused it. Stepdaughter is 14, dating a 16-year-old. She graduated high school, so probably 18 and 20. 18-year-old stepdaughter, 20-year-old boyfriend. When she went off to college, she broke up with her boyfriend. She told my wife she realized she would never get away from him if she stayed home, and he would hold her back, which I don't disagree with. My greatest fear was that he would get her pregnant. He wouldn't be able to take care of her. In parentheses, he didn't graduate high school, and raising the baby would fall on me and my wife. She came back home to get the rest of their stuff and agreed to meet the guy to give each other their stuff back. She told my wife she kept it it strictly professional. She returned to her new home and after a month or two returned home. In March, she told us she was pregnant and due in August. We told her they couldn't live with us and he needed to get a job. He said he couldn't get a job in this city without a place to stay. So I gave him 30 days to save up and move out. The deal was for 30 days and I wasn't going to do the dishes or take out the trash. That was 4 months ago. My stepdaughter said they can't save money because she's paying for her baby shower. The dishes and trash sit for days at a time. They both have jobs and combined make at least $1,000 a week. Girl, if you don't have the money to pay for a baby shower, don't have a baby shower. Is that fucked up for me to say? Are baby showers expensive? I've never done a baby shower, but like you just get food for the guests? Aren't you supposed to come out on top for that? From my understanding, the societal pressure of throwing a baby shower is basically just getting people to buy you really expensive stuff that you don't want to pay for your baby. Is that crazy to say, chat? I don't think that's crazy to say. Yeah, isn't $1,000 a week good though? I mean, it's not bad. It's not fantastic by any means, but like you can make shit happen with $4,000 a month. Listen, you guys are kind of sending mixed things in here about how expensive a baby shower is. If you can't afford it, don't have it. Even further, if you can't afford a baby, don't have it. Like you guys are saying it in chat. A lot of y'all saying deletus the fetus. Like, get that a boo-boo, girl. My wife who told me they wouldn't be allowed to live here with the baby has now switched to, I'm not kicking out my daughter and grandbaby. I'm struggling to pay the bills. I work a full-time job, have a small side hustle that pays $300 a month, and I do Instacart on one of my days off. This week, I used 2 PTO days to do Instacart for rent. I sold my plasma. I still had to ask my parents for help. I suggested that he applies to get on the lease, and then each of us contribute $150 a week to a fund for paying rent and bills. My wife immediately rejected that and threatened to take them and move out. Bro, yeah. Listen, I think you should have divorced way earlier. She doesn't make enough to cover her expenses without me. Okay, so for the question at hand, am I the a-hole for expecting a 19-year-old and 21-year-old to contribute financially who are having a baby and need to start taking up the responsibilities of being a parent and an adult? Yeah, not the a-hole. I think you're an a-hole to yourself for not leaving this wife earlier and also not doing your due diligence on how your partner raises their child. Like if you are marrying somebody who already has a kid and they have an unhealthy dynamic with their kid that you don't agree with, granted, I don't know when OP stepped into this role, but like you gotta be picking up on this shit. Don't say that that's victim blaming. Listen, if it's a victim of like SA or something crazy like that, I am very against victim blaming. This man is a victim of just living with a shitty family. I think it's okay to point out, hey bro, if you committed to this woman, you're also committing to her relationship dynamic with her child. He literally tried to stop this and was vetoed at every turn. He should have left. He should have left, bouncy ball. I'm sorry. Like, what do you want me to do? Tell him like you didn't have any part of the position that you're currently in? Like, listen, y'all, if I ever try to put any blame on somebody who got SA'd or something monumentally terrible, call me out on it. 100% agree with you. I shouldn't be saying that shit. But when I'm just talking about somebody who like stayed in a situation that they shouldn't have, I'm calling that out, not even necessarily to like tell him directly, but tell anybody else who's in a situation like this, you need to get out. Like if somebody's watching this video right now and they're like, hey man, I am relating very heavily to this guy where my partner is terrible at parenting their stepdaughter and it is negatively affecting my life. I am telling you right now, it is your responsibility and only your responsibility to get out of that relationship. I guess if you want to be technical, you can call that victim blaming, but like to me, that is just pointing out a mistake in a situation where like, yeah, OP's the victim, but like he's the victim of being with shitty people who don't know how to money manage or parent their child. Like to me, that is okay to like point out, hey man, we got to do some different things here. Sarby victim blamed me when his cat showed hole. You know what? My cat will never be in the wrong. My cat will never be in the wrong, chat. It is always your fault when you tell my cat to show hole. May seem harsh, but Sarby is right. You got to look out for numero uno. Yeah, exactly. And I'm not trying to sit here and be like shitting on OP. Like I said, when I say you're the a-hole to yourself, like I think a lot of people are the a-hole to themselves. If you are not creating boundaries for yourself in your relationships with other people, I think you're being the a-hole to yourself. You might be victim in those relationships because you don't have those boundaries up. Why am I wrong for trying to encourage people to set up those boundaries? Like that's all I'm really trying to do here is tell OP, hey man, you should have set up a boundary of like, hey, we got to talk about how you you parent your child and how we operate with that, because I'm not okay with X, Y, and Z. Like, to be honest, if OP would have just put his foot down a lot earlier and divorced the wife, he wouldn't be in this predicament. That's just a fact of like, if you would have gotten to a point where you're like, nope, putting my foot down, it's staying down. You disagree with that, you can leave. That's basically what I'm trying to tell him to do right now. It's like the phrase of like, the best time to do that was months ago. The next best time is right now. So for anybody who's in OP's situation months ago, I want to encourage you not to do what OP does here. The second line of this post, I would have had a problem with and been like, hey, that is not something that I want in my house. Like, call me crazy, but like when you're under my roof and you're a minor, you are never allowed to have your partner sleep over unless there's an emergency. And even then, you guys are on the opposite ends of the bedroom and I am sleeping in the middle. So there's no, oh, sorry. Wait, no, not that, not bedroom. Whoops. No. I was trying to say you guys are sleeping on the opposite ends of the house and I am in the middle to intercept if you guys try to do some sneaky shit. Yeah, like open door policy, everything. Don't get me wrong. I'm gonna be like, hey, listen, I know you guys are gonna be sneaky and shit. Be safe, be responsible. But like, I'm not gonna give you the opportunity to do that shit. To me, that is a crazy thing to do as a parent. And that attitude, in my opinion, leads to the pregnancy. Baby monitor, oh my God, incredible. That might be a little crazy, I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna be realistic. When a kid's in high school and they wanna fuck, they're gonna fuck. But I'll be damned if they do it in my house. I'm gonna be realistic. High schoolers will take their car and have sex in their car. Like, it's going to happen. And I'm just gonna tell my kid, like, hey, be responsible. If you ever get in any trouble or you're uncomfortable, call me. I'll be there. I never want this to be like something that you have to like hide from me if there's anything that you need guidance or education on. That being said, don't want it to happen while I'm here, and I'm not going to completely enable it blindly, you know? Like, I'll probably keep condoms in my house for my kids. If I have a kid, I'm gonna give them a really good sex talk, both guy and girl. I want my son to have a really good understanding of like sexual implications for women, but I'll be damned if I'm like, yeah, let your high school partner sleep over. My mother always taught me and my brother to wrap that shit up before doing it. Okay, well, I hope you're not talking about incest. I'm so sorry, Jalen. I'm so sorry. Just based off the story we started with. I had to throw that one out there. I had to, man. Just the way you phrased that, bro. I'm sorry. Don't call me out on that, man. Sarby, it's on site. That's so fair, Jalen. That's so fair. Am I the a-hole for not cooking my husband breakfast anymore? 75% of the time, I have to wake him up with breakfast. Otherwise, he sleeps half the day. He's a firefighter, so he has weird hours to begin with. It's the only way to get him out of bed and moving. Instead of being grateful and thankful for not having to be an adult for the first 45 minutes of the day like the rest of us, he criticizes whatever I make if it's not perfect. And I mean perfect. So after this morning's comment of the eggs are dry, why do you overcook your eggs? I just had enough. I don't have anyone cooking for me or waking me up with princess treatment. So I said, you can cook your breakfast from now on. You're acting like a spoiled brat. He says he's allowed to have an opinion if he's being served dog shit. He didn't eat the eggs, took one bite of the homemade apple turnover and threw it all away and microwaved a Jimmy Dean biscuit. Mind you, I'm an excellent cook, legitimately. Yesterday's breakfast was sausage, eggs, and bananas Foster homemade buttermilk pancakes. In parentheses, even the buttermilk and butter were handmade. Like, am I really the a-hole here? I'm so fed up. That's fucking insane. Listen, the only thing, and I don't even think OP's the a-hole here, but the only thing I can kind of critique here is like, why are we talking shit about him being a firefighter and like that allowing him to sleep in a little bit? Hey man, your husband's a fucking firefighter. That's sexy as fuck, and he's saving lives and helping people in need. Like, why are we shitting on him for that? That's the only critique I have of OP, but I don't think that makes OP the a-hole here. I think OP's asshole fucking partner who calls food being served to them dog shit, waking them up every morning with homemade breakfast in bed, that guy fucking sucks. Get rid of him, girl. That's so crazy. I just can't imagine being that disrespectful to someone. Like, if the food's not great, you can just like lightly tell them like, hey, I'll make my own food. I appreciate it, but like, I want to make blah, blah, you know? Chat, let me see what the comments are saying. They have to be calling this guy the a-hole, right? Girl, he thinks you're his house slave. Yeah. Everybody pretty much being like, this guy fucking sucks. Leave him. I agree. But also, like, if you get another partner who's like a firefighter or like a YouTuber and they don't have as rigid of a schedule and sometimes want to sleep in, like, why are we shitting on them for that? I'm asking for a friend. Am I the a-hole for giving my boyfriend an ultimatum for showing me his home? Hi, I've been dating a guy for almost 3 months now. We literally live a 15 minutes walk distance from each other, so we hang out almost daily. He comes over at my place to watch movies, eat dinner, and play games together. But he refuses to invite me over to his place. Every time I ask him to hang out at his place, he tells me it's too messy and he doesn't want me to see it. He lives in a small apartment and has loads of free time to clean. I also offered to help him clean his home several times, but he refuses. He rejected the idea of hiring a professional cleaner too. I don't want us to only hang out at my home every time, and I've asked him to clean his home so many times now. I even said I don't care about it being a mess. I just want my boyfriend to invite me over. He claims he is cleaning bit by bit, but that's what he's been saying for like 3 months now. Last week I was fed up with it and told him I'm giving him an ultimatum of 2 weeks to show me his home or we're done. He asked me for a month. Eventually we settled on 3 weeks, but he... Girl, let me get this straight. Our standards are dating men who need 3 weeks to clean their apartment. Why? Just why? The dick can't be that good. Oh my God. I needed to keep reading because it says, eventually we settled on 3 weeks, but he said he probably won't make it. We settled on 3 weeks, but even that isn't enough time for this man to figure it the fuck out. Keep in mind, this is a single person apartment, so real small, and he has all the time in the world, but it's bugging me. Am I the a-hole for demanding to see his place? Okay, so here's my thought. Number one, you're dating the most incompetent man in the world. Why the fuck would you date him? Number two, there's another reason why you can't go to his apartment. He has another girlfriend. That could be a possibility. The other one that I think is probably a little bit more realistic, he probably doesn't have an apartment. You might be dating a homeless guy, or maybe a dude who lives with his mom and just couldn't tell you that he lives with his mom. What is it called, chat? When you got like a homeless person, like a guy lying to you about being homeless and he's living with you. What is it called again? A hobosexual. Thank you. Yeah, you got a hobosexual with you, girl. For sure. Oh, man. Yeah, that's crazy. Like, I'm just of the firm belief that if you're dating somebody and this early on, they're doing something super abnormal, that is just like, whoa, dude, what are we doing here? I think it's just better to get out, you know? No matter how you spin this is a red flag. Like, there is no way that you can spin this to be like, okay, that makes sense. You can't. Oh my God, chat, top comment. My current theories, he lives with his parents and is embarrassed, lives with his girlfriend or ex-girlfriend, or he's a hoarder. Could be. Yeah, he could also be homeless / living in his car or couch surfing. Chat, I have to fucking check. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, chat. OP has that post and then changing language on Neopets. I'm so sorry. The duality of Reddit goes so hard. I mean, this post was literally from a day ago. So if we get an update or anything like that, you guys are going to have to send that to me. I'm very curious, man. I think there has to be some weird hanky-panky shit going on. Another theory could be struggling with mental health and actually has a really messy place he hasn't been able to tackle yet. I get that, but I still think it's a red flag because OP has offered to help them clean it and they're not taking the help, you know? Because then you're like, okay, now you're with a partner who isn't able to function. And don't get me wrong, like if you have mental health issues, like I sympathize and empathize with you, but I don't think that should then be something that like bleeds into your relationship that you have almost like closed door communication on, or that you're not trying to work with your partner on. And it doesn't sound like that's what's happening here. Like in my opinion, if that's the case, OP's boyfriend shouldn't be in a relationship with them. They should be figuring out their mental health so that they don't live in a pigsty. Because to me, all that OP really is a distraction from it. Am I the a-hole for showing up underprepared to a hike and being put off with my friends for not warning me and also ditching me? Genuinely need help understanding if I'm just a wuss who dragged everyone backwards today or if we're mad for the right reasons. I'll change minor details here for discretion. I, 31 female, had a friend group, similar ages, saying we'd like to get together for a hike sometime. We've scheduled, rescheduled, planned, and unplanned babysitter and dog sitters and finally managed it. Holy shit, that's the most in your 30s thing I've ever heard in my entire life. Like, I'm not even in my 30s yet and I be doing that shit all the time. You plan something with your friends and then it gets rescheduled and then you plan it again and then it gets rescheduled and then you eventually usually end up canceling it. So glad this one made it out of the group chat. So I had been tossing out trail ideas, something easy, single day. My two friends say, we'd like to just hike the trail right by our place. And they essentially tell me that it's a straight shot. We'll have a buddy drop us off on the other side of the hill and we'll hike over and essentially right back down into their neighborhood. 6 hours, start to finish. So my boyfriend and I show up, backpacks, basic snacks, water bottles. They show up on bikes.
that's not a hike if you're gonna use bikes. My boyfriend and I are a little confused. We thought this was a hike for leisure. No rush, just sort of a one foot in front of the other type thing. They say it's no rush, they may beat us, but we're all just going back to the neighborhood. Plus, there are a bunch of scenic lookouts where they'll stop and we'll catch up. What are they talking about? That's not how bikes work. If you're on a bike, you're gonna go exponentially faster than if you're on foot. Like even on a trail, I'm thinking like max 2, maybe 3 miles an hour if you're lucky. But if you're biking, it's like 10, 15. Well, to no one's surprise, we get left behind pretty quickly. No cell service to be spoken of. We keep having to crowd off to one side for ATVs ripping down the path. But the longer we keep walking, one thing becomes clearer and clearer. This is not any kind of hiking trail. It's not built for this at all, despite that being the original idea. Eventually, we stop to rest and wind up chatting with these guys who have pulled over on their ATVs. They ask us where we're headed, and when we tell them, it becomes immediately clear that we have much further to go than originally intended. Like, several miles to go. Oh my god, it's 6 hours if you're on a bike, which is like 18 hours if you're on foot. Probably more. Like, I'm probably undershooting that. I can't get over the fact that they called this a hike. If you're using bikes, it's not a hike. That is a bike trail. These two were saints because they gave us a lift. The further we rode, the more astonished we became that anyone had expected us to do this on foot. It took us at least 15 minutes more to get there by ATV. We got back to the trailhead and realized it wasn't exactly right into the neighborhood like we'd been told, so we just started walking. Eventually they came by and picked us up, I'd say maybe 20 minutes or so after we hit the main road. We told them we were too tired to stay for dinner, in parentheses, the original plan, and we booked out and grabbed something on the way home. Here's where I'm at. We're adults, I was clearly underprepared, and no one should have to be responsible for me. On the other hand, this trip was vastly misrepresented to us, and had I known, I would have told these people we didn't own mountain bikes and to count us out. This was not a hike. We have vastly different ideas of what constitutes a hike. I think everybody who's a normal person has a vastly different idea of what a hike is. If I showed up to a hike with my friends and they had bikes, I would never let them hear the end of it. I would be like, you guys are fucking dumb. That is not a hike. A hike is something you do on your feet. A bike trail, that is not a hike. Yeah, like I get this. I get this paragraph. You're an adult. You're supposed to be able to like prepare for yourself, but like you can only prepare for what you're being told to prepare for. So if they take you on a bike trail that you need a mountain bike for, and they call it hiking, you shouldn't be expected to be prepared for that because you didn't know what to be prepared for. I've been fielding calls about how sorry everyone is about the way things went down, but honestly, I just said that I had made it home safe and I'd talk to everyone later. Sorry doesn't cut it, in my opinion. Hey, I know we just put you in a very dangerous situation, but I'm sorry. That was a fucky wucky. I'll try not to endanger your life again. Like, my mom had been babysitting so we could go, and when she asked me, I told her all of the above and then said I tried to hold it together because I figured maybe I was just tired and crabby, but then we had dinner and I was still upset. She genuinely asked me if these people were my friends. I'm going to sleep on it because it's fresh, but I feel like she's right. I felt like I was taking crazy pills today because damn, at least tell me I'd be better off just going home. I felt like the people who knew the area misrepresented the trip and then totally fucked off and left us to figure out a way back. No, that's so important too, because like best case scenario, your friends are stupid and not genuinely careful about what they're doing. Because not only did your friends think that a hike required mountain bikes, but they also thought that it would be completely safe to take you on the trail that mountain bikes and ATVs come ripping down. Like, bro, if somebody's walking on a path meant for mountain bikes and ATVs and someone's ripping on that shit, you're risking getting hit by mountain bikes and ATVs. I don't think you should be friends with these people because like bare minimum, they're dumb, and like dumb friends will always figure out a way to make your life exponentially worse. Like this probably won't be a one-off situation. And then also they're unempathetic. Like if I put my friends in a situation like this, I would be kissing their feet, telling them how sorry I am. Where is that? I don't see that shit anywhere, bro. Additionally, I get very few days off with a babysitter, so to have planned excessively for this to have it go down that way was additionally disappointing. Although, Not anyone's fault, just an extra grievance, honestly. I don't know, it just feels like we lost the plot here somewhere, and I'm not demanding an apology. I'm just not going to be expecting help or logic from any of these people in the near future. Yeah, I think that's a safe bet. Do these people have kids? I'm genuinely scared. Like, they mentioned babysitters for the whole group. Wait, hold on. Time out. I'm confused now too, because this sounds like a group of friends more than just the friends who lived in this neighborhood. So did these friends specifically communicate to your other friends that they needed to bring bikes, but not to you and your boyfriend? That's suspicious. That's weird. I don't like that. That sounds capital SHITTY, baby. Attempted murder, question mark? That's crazy, bro. Damn, OP's replying to hella comments. Holy shit. Oh my god, chat. I can't sort through all of these, bro. Oh my god. OP! OP! Oh my god. I'm still going. Oh fuck, the camera's lagging, bro. I swear to god, this is crazy. I'm still going. I'm still going. Okay, I finally reached the end. Oh my god. Listen, I don't want to sort through these comments because it is so clearly not the a-hole to me. Like, so ungodly clearly. I don't think there's any extra information that I could seek from OP other than I would just love to hear confirmation that you're never gonna fucking talk to these people ever again. That's pretty much it. I would love an update that's like, yeah, fuck them and their mother and sending their grandma to Sarby to get fucked as well. Cause like, holy shit, that has to be attempted murder, right, chat? Like, you can't convince me otherwise. This has to be a world record number of OP responses. Honestly, I think so. Like, that's incredible. She really sat down and was like, let me fucking ba-ba, bang, bow, bling, blah, boom. A skilly pop pop pop. You know, good for her. It would take longer to read all that than walk the trail. You might be right, Claire. You might be right. I listened to enough true crime to know that this was in fact attempted unaliving. I don't know. Do y'all think this was like innocent? Oh, I messed up. I'm sorry. Or like they have a vendetta and they were trying to, I don't know, kill OP and their boyfriend. Would I be the a-hole if I dropped out as a bridesmaid a week before the wedding because of what happened at the bachelorette? So I am a bridesmaid in my friend's wedding. She just had a bachelorette party at the groom's family's cabin for 2 nights. It started off okay, but as the attendants got more and more drunk, the racism and anti-Semitism started coming out. For context, everyone else in the wedding is white. I am mixed Jewish and Asian, in parentheses, and Irish, but not relevant to this post. My part of the party was to put on a tea party in the afternoon. Interesting bachelorette party activity. I spent weeks hand decorating a tea set as a wedding present. Weddings are huge in my culture, and I wanted to share that joy. I bought and cooked a bunch of my cultural food, in parentheses, but the basic stuff even Western food people like. Lumpia, baked desserts, and skyflakes with cheese and meat. Chat, I don't know what lumpia or skyflakes are. Can anyone describe? You know what? I think I should just look up pictures. Lumpia. Oh. Wait, are these just like egg rolls or like spring rolls, chat? Lumpia is like an egg roll. Okay, all right, bet. And then what was the other one? Skyflakes. I've never heard of skyflakes. Crackers? Or are they like wafers, chat? Such a funny name for crackers. No, actually. I think that's what we should call white people from now on. You skyflake. Sorry. Bad joke. Bad joke. Oh, it sounds like crackers with cheese and meat. Okay. Interesting. I would never say, like, I would just say crackers with cheese and meat, not like the brand of crackers and cheese and meat, you know? I, of course, checked with the bride and maid of honor beforehand, and both of them said that would be okay, with the bride saying she loved lumpia. I was so proud of it, and it looked beautiful all set up. But immediately, some of the bridal party started making the ew, ethnic food faces. In parentheses, people of color, if you know, you know. One of them chased around another with a sweet bun, laughing about how weird and scary it was. It was literally bread and cream. See, that is a white person activity. Like, only a white person would, ooh, food, ooh, so scary. Like, come on, bro. I sent pictures of my setup to other friends to see if it was something I did wrong, and everyone said it looked amazing. Edit, because I need to be precise. People did say thank you, including the bride. They said the setup was very pretty. It was the reaction to the food by some of them. In parentheses, family of the groom who also made the Auschwitz jokes? that I was describing. Where? Did I miss an Auschwitz joke? What the fuck? I think that has to be later on. I don't know why they added this edit mentioning the Auschwitz jokes beforehand, but it's got to be beforehand because nothing has popped up. Lost in Fire sounds like 3-year-olds. No, actually, they're acting like 3-year-olds. That being said, almost nobody spoke during the tea party portion and blamed it on being tired. The brides and friends did not say anything about the reactions of the other girls. The main feedback I got was that I was clearly a witch because my tea put everyone to sleep. It was hibiscus, rose, mint, and calamansi mix. That was the end of the edit, by the way. This is like back to the original post. Everyone said it looked amazing, but oh well, maybe that food isn't for them. I moved on. But then the racist jokes started. The party started on Juneteenth. You can imagine the jokes that came out of that. Then anti-Semitic jokes about Holocaust camps and more. This is a direct quote. I say a lot of Nazi and Holocaust jokes for someone who isn't racist. I was trapped on a boat with them when this started happening. Later that night, as I was grabbing something from a room to then leave, the main perpetrator said to someone I considered a close friend, I was worried you'd be offended by the Auschwitz jokes because you're German. That friend replied she wasn't offended. I spoke up. Well, I might be offended because I'm Jewish. I got up to leave with my stuff and the girl said, she's going back to Auschwitz. Oh. The people that do shit like that are so annoying. Like when someone communicates like, hey, so you did something that I didn't like, can you stop? And then they proceed to do it again thinking that it's just another funny joke, even though they've communicated, I don't like that. Hey, I'm gonna be a fucking dickhead and do it again. My friend, the bride, and everyone laughed. Okay, bride losing some points here. I went outside and I cried. They saw me from the window and they all came to eat food. Not a single one of my friends came to check in on me. Yeah, this doesn't really sound like a good group of friends. The vibes continued along that line and I felt like I was in the Jewish/Asian version of Get Out, stuck in a giant home with a bunch of racist white people. But honestly, the fear from it wasn't the worst part. It was that not a single one of my friends said anything. I then was in a 4-hour car ride with one of the friends/bridesmaids on the way home. She spent the last hour of it lecturing me about how she's someone who can be cordial around people she doesn't agree with, but not everyone has the skill, especially when it's personal. Well, of course it's easy for you to be cordial around people because you're a fucking white person. You're a white person whose people have never been oppressed because you guys have always been the oppressors. Oh, of course I'm cordial and easy to hang out because there's nothing you can say that would oppress me the way that I'm oppressing people whose ancestors were put into Auschwitz. Like, it's so brain dead. It's so dumb that, like, for me and you, this is like an easy put together. But for this dumb bitch, she's like, well, I white and privileged. If I white privileged happy, why can't you be not white privileged happy? I guess not everyone have skill. Like, fuck her. Honestly, OP, I think this should just be a wake-up call to drop these friends. They sound terrible. If you soured her wedding by not going anymore, she kind of deserves it for not saying something or at least keeping these people around her and enabling it, especially when it's personal and that I need to put myself in other people's shoes and see that they have positive intentions and more. What is the positive intention of making fun of people who got gassed by genocidal maniacs? More especially when someone goes, hey, so I don't like that. That's not cool. This is something important to me. And then you double down. Like, go fuck yourself. There's no positive intentions there. This cabin was 4 hours away and I have a pretty moderate disability. I was using 110% of my energy for this and had no energy left by the end of it. I pushed myself to extremes for these friends and the bride, and it was reciprocated with laughing at anti-Semitic jokes at my expense. The wedding is next weekend. I can barely see from the migraine I have and my legs are struggling with walking. I don't feel like it's worth it to hurt myself for someone who can't bother to stand up for me or even check on me after. All my friends of color agree with me, but this was my high school friend group. Ooh. In parentheses, I grew up in a very white town. Double ooh. And I also feel guilty like I'm letting them down. I'm not quite sure what to do, Reddit, so help me out. Yeah, drop them like they hot. So you're telling me that they've had years? I mean, I guess we don't know how old OP is. OP could, in theory, be very young, but I'm hoping since she's getting married, they're all in like their mid-20s. So like if they haven't been able to become a little bit more aware of what's appropriate to like joke about with you and in general since high school, yeah, I think that's plenty of time to give them to like figure it the fuck out. It's the fact that they aren't even even good jokes. I agree. Imagine lecturing an Asian/Jewish friend to put themselves in other people's shoes. No, for real, dude. For real. And we've been new white people have never put themselves in anyone else's shoes except for their own, bro. Yeah, man. People need to read the room. Me personally, like, I don't mind with my good friends. I don't mind a little Asian joke here and there because we have some pretty, like, maybe not for me, like, I don't make race jokes about them, but like we got inside jokes that are like a little silly, goofy, but you never cross a line. Like, they know that like those are my only boys who can even kind of make jokes. And even then, sometimes if they go too far, I'm like, hey guys, chill out. And then they chill out. Like, that's just how you're supposed to operate. Girl or guy, like, talk to your friends, talk about how it's appropriate to joke. And if you cross the line, apologize, say you didn't mean anything by it, and you'll learn from it the next time. You know, I think you should be able to make jokes in certain circumstances, right? You should be able to make jokes, but if somebody tells you, hey, I don't like those and I don't want you to make those, you just don't. You just respect it. Yeah, taking your own power back by laughing is true, but those aren't jokes, they're harassment. No, for real. Like, it's true harassment when someone says, hey, I don't like those jokes, and then they double down on it. Then it's like, okay, bro, you don't actually care about me. You don't care about respecting me. You just want me to be the butt end of any joke. And you can do that without race, by the way. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think it actually happens a lot in guy culture. Like, if you've ever seen those memes that are like, when you're hanging out with a girl that you like and your friend all of a sudden becomes like the funny friend or whatever and like starts making fun of you. Like, I think that happens a lot where, like, especially in guy culture, a girl comes in and like they're competing for her attention. So one of the guys or both of them, I don't know, uses the other guy as like the butt end of the joke to make themselves like look better. Like, I think that happens a lot, especially in guy culture. Let's read this edit. I kind of want to hear what is going on here. So this is OP's actual edit at the end of the post. Edit, I was a history major, which makes this whole thing even worse. So I have to add context that I didn't realize I missed until the comments. 1. The friend in the car is the friend who said she wasn't offended by the Holocaust jokes to the person. She was asked by the jokester because she's German and lives in Germany. In the car, she did say that she is absolutely against the concentration camp joke and that she feels guilty she didn't say anything. In parentheses, the words, I'm sorry, never came out of her mouth though. But then I brought up the other stuff with the food and racist comments, and that's when she went on that tangent. She also said she saw the racism, but told me in those situations, you just have to ignore it and choose to not be around those people again. So she's saying, don't hang out with us because we're awful fucking mean people? Are you being like, yeah, don't fucking hang out with us anymore, we're bad people? As she knew there was racism happening, including towards me, and didn't say anything or check in on me, I will be choosing to not be around her again. Smart choice. I also told her repeatedly that I didn't want to talk about this now because I was so physically done, and she said, this is my car, I am driving. I don't want to be uncomfortable and have this tension here. We are talking. Okay, so she doesn't even sound like a safe person to be around. That's not how that works. Somebody goes, hey, I can't have this conversation now. You don't go, well, this is my car that I'm holding you hostage in because I drove you here, and you have no other choice but to go with me. Therefore, I make rules. Like, what are you talking about? If I was OP, I would have just popped in my headphones and been like, noise cancel these nuts in your mouth. I have a vocal cord disorder and my speaking is limited, so I didn't say much and I didn't want to get dropped off on the side of the road in the middle of nowhere. I told her she crossed the boundary and she can't come back from that though. 2, the people making the racist jokes were the siblings/cousins of the groom. My friends were the ones laughing along and not saying anything. Oh, so it wasn't just your friends from high school. Interesting. I mean, that always fucks with the dynamic, but like if people are saying fucked up shit, you just go, hey, stop saying fucked up shit. You don't laugh along. 3, I've been long distance with these friends since high school. The friend in the car with me was in a social justice club with me in high school. There was not signs of this behavior before from either this friend or the bride. In fact, the bride went with me to an anti-ICE fundraiser party earlier this year and we had a lot of fun. I have never been shy with my opinions, especially as someone who studied history. This was the first time I was hanging out with them around a bunch of other people. In reviewing these comments, I have realized that they may be not racist when with me before, but didn't stop or say anything about racism when it happened, which is in fact racism. That is the key difference. I am also more white than not. I'm ethnically Jewish, but not religiously. I often don't feel like I have a right to be upset about these things because other family have gone through worse. That is something I'm working to unlearn, and this was definitely some exposure therapy to that. Yeah, I mean, just because you're not tapped into the culture doesn't make you any less Jewish. Like, not gonna lie, my Japanese cultural side doesn't get a lot of TLC, so to speak, but like, that doesn't mean I'm any less Japanese, you know? 4, why didn't I say anything at the party? Because I was in the middle of nowhere surrounded by drunk people making racist comments at me. I have survived violence before, and I know that sometimes keeping your mouth shut is what needs to happen until you're in a safe space. 5, lastly, I will not be going to the wedding. I need to get off screens because my head is killing me, but your comments and support help settle me emotionally. I will decide tomorrow how I will inform the bride. Honestly, wouldn't it be even funnier if you just didn't show up? I'm sorry. I just thought of the worst thing to say. This is a joke that I would make if I was Jewish. I'm not recommending it, nor am I like, this is a good joke. But the day of the wedding, if she texted, "Where are you?" I would have been like, "I'm at Auschwitz." Block. That might be fucked up for me to say, but like, how funny would that be to tell her to go fuck herself? You know what I'm saying? Take the power, OP. Honestly, I thought of that too. Happy to hear I'm not the only one. I just think it'd be a funny way to like tell her like, hey, this is why I am telling you to go fuck yourself. You know what I'm saying? You gotta take the power back of the joke, but also let them know why. You know what I'm saying? Just be like, bam, bam, bada, 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 bada. Yeah, if you can make the joke, do it. No, for real. Like, obviously, don't make the joke if you feel like you're like, I feel like that diminishes that, but I would have been like, bam. Fuck being the bigger person. You go low, I will go to hell. Honestly, I'm such of that belief. Because, like, a lot of it, too, a lot of it's like taking the high road can sometimes not empower you. Like, if anything, what you're doing is you're, like, allowing someone to treat you a certain way. And I'm just not of that belief. I think by standing up for yourself, even if that makes things a little bit messier, I think further burning the bridge with these people just helps keep them out of your life. Like, if you don't go to her wedding, you're never gonna see her again. Even if you like backtrack, even if you backslide back to that friendship, like, you kind of burn the boats, bro, which I kind of believe in. I think sometimes people can be a little bit like, oh, I don't know, maybe I made the wrong decision. Like, bro, sleep in the bed that you made and tell them to go fuck themselves. Am I the a-hole for not going by a different name than my birth name? Because it makes my friends uncomfortable. Okay, what could this name possibly be? I honestly think this whole situation is stupid, but I want some outside opinions. I, 21 female, have always been questioned about my name. Most people assume it's a chosen name, but it's the one on my birth certificate. I honestly like my name and the meaning behind it, but apparently my friends think it's inappropriate to go by it. My name is Moonshadow, and it's after a song and astrological effect. Okay, definitely a different name, but how is that inappropriate? Also, kind of a cool name. Yo, this is my homie Moonshadow. Low-key chat, hear me out, and I'm not talking shit here. Warrior Cat's name. Right? Am I right or am I right? That's pretty damn cool. If my name was Moonshadow when I went to elementary school and Warrior Cats was the shit and we were all pretending to be cats on the playground, I would have been the coolest motherfucker ever. You want to see some Moonshadow? I'll show you Moonshadow. You know, like... I've dealt with questions my whole life, and most of my teachers throughout school would refer to me by my middle name because it was easier to remember. No! Are you kidding me? I'm a teacher. I'm calling on Moonshadow all day. That's so cool! Now that I'm an adult, I get less comments or questions. My friends have never seemed to care about my name, and I never really thought anyone did because it was just my name. However, the other day we were supposed to meet up at a restaurant, and I walked into this weird vibe. Basically, all of my friends had staged an intervention to tell me that they wanted me to go by a different name because they felt uncomfortable with using mine. When I asked why, they said my name sounded native and that by using it, I was appropriating Native American culture. Like, you guys are kind of saying it in chat. It just sounds performative, you know? Sounds like a bunch of white people. That's crazy, man. Yeah, you guys were saying it too. It's kind of racist of them to say that. It looked like there could be Native American implications, could not be based off my Google search. But, like, it doesn't seem like it's prominent. It doesn't seem like Native Americans would hear the name Moonshadow and be like, what the fuck, dog? You know? It just sounds like a bunch of white friends were sitting there jealous that they have boner lame names, and they were like, we're gonna tear down our friend. My name isn't as cool as Moonshadow, so I gotta fucking tear down my cool friend with a cool name. Oh my god. When I asked why, they said that my name sounded native and that by using it I was appropriating Native American culture. I pointed out that I was Cherokee, and they said that I didn't act it, so it didn't count? That's so crazy because it's performative, but it's so performative, it's racist. That's a new one for me, chat. You gotta pick a lane. You can either only be racist or performative. You know? How the fuck do you got a foot on one side and then a foot on the other? I pointed out that I was Cherokee and they said that I didn't act it, so it didn't count. At that point, I was irritated and snapped at them, saying I wasn't going to change my name because they were racist, which was probably out of line looking back. No, I don't think that's out of line. I left after that, and now my phone is being blown up by messages from the group and people outside of it saying that I'm being a bad friend for not respecting a boundary.
I've said it before and I'll say it again. Hey, you can set a boundary. Doesn't mean we can't sit here and be like, that's a pretty fucking stupid boundary. Exhibit A of a really stupid boundary, by the way. I think this actually might win the award for the most stupid boundary. Oh my God, that's so dumb. Hey man, I have a boundary that your friends need to genuinely shut the fuck up and never speak again. Oh, they're speaking? They're not respecting my boundary, bro. How dare they? They must be racist. I honestly don't see anything wrong with my name, but having so many people tell me that I'm in the wrong is messing with me. I would really appreciate some advice. Yeah, bro, drop these friends. Where did you find them? The Idiot Factory? Like, come on. Talk about some dumb shit, man. It should be illegal to be this stupid. Oh my God. Horseshoe theory of racism. It means that you go too far in either direction and you end up in the same place. I don't know, man. From being on the internet, if there's one thing that I've learned is that people will complain about anything. I literally had somebody complaining on my second channel on YouTube. They're like, so it's just funny now to joke about sexually assaulting grandmas? I'm like, bro, the joke that like, it's like implied, but like also is like clearly a part of the joke is like your grandmas are consenting. I was like, bro, I'm not joking about walking up to your grandma and smacking her ass when she doesn't want it. I'm just joking about, yeah, your grandma's in bed waiting for me. Implied consent. Like some people just genuinely walk around or go on the internet and they're like, how can I get offended today? How do I possibly get the most offended today that I possibly can? How do I take this guy reading Reddit, encouraging people to improve their lives, and make him the villain? Sarby is honking grandma's saggy tits left and right. You right? Consensually, by the way. Leave my grandma out of this. Addie, I'm actually specifically talking about your grandma. Your grandma consensually is in my bedroom right now. And she's doing 720 no scopes on it. I'm sorry, that's crazy. I'm sure your grandma's lovely. There's a little sorta update on this post. I wasn't really expecting so much attention on this. I've read a lot of comments and a few messages that I've gotten, and it's great to be validated in the fact that I'm not the a-hole. I do want to clear up one thing that I said a few times. My name isn't Cherokee, so I probably should have explained that better. I just brought my heritage up as a counterpoint to the insane argument that they had. My name comes from a song by Cat Stevens that my mom really liked. I saw a couple people ask about my heritage specifically, which I don't really think is relevant, but whatever. I'm half Cherokee and half white, though I look pretty white. A lot of people are saying that I should leave the friend group, but I'm kind of hesitant too because we've been friends since high school. Okay, hot take, chat. And listen, this doesn't apply to every high school friend group, but I would say more often than not, separating from your high school friend group is like the breaking of the chains meme. It just encompasses everything about that meme. And don't get me wrong, sometimes you meet great friends in high school, you stay friends forever. I would definitely say high school friends most of the time don't last. Similar to like high school relationships. Like everybody evolves. Some people fall down certain pipelines that they really shouldn't, but alas, they do. And some friends call you racist for your cool name, you know? I don't think they're worth keeping around. I think I'm going to try and have a conversation with them again to hopefully fix this situation. I don't want to lose these people who've been around for such a big part of my life, but I don't want to change such a huge part of myself and my identity just to keep them around. I love my name and the meaning it has to both my parents and myself. I don't know if I'll update afterwards, but I'll try to. Thanks again for your comments. Not the a-hole saying you don't act Cherokee is totally racist. Yeah. Like that's if I told somebody I'm half Japanese and they're like, you don't act Japanese. I'll be like, oh, you want me to use the accent? What do you mean by that? You want me to quote some anime? You want me to start pronouncing my L's as R's? Do a magic girl transformation right now to prove you're Japanese, Sarby. Flower bite, you're right. I'm not actually Japanese. I can't do that. Sarby, sing karaoke right now or you're not actually Japanese. Am I the a-hole for telling my guests it's better they don't come to the wedding after they complained about our wedding too much? We are getting married in less than 2 months. Our RSVP deadline was a month ago, and everyone responded to our RSVP but one couple. We really had to hound them to get any kind of answer from them. Yesterday, they sent us a message telling us they are free to come, but alongside the reply, they sent us a long message. How cumbersome and expensive it is to attend our wedding and how tiring the weekend for them will be, and how they will probably retreat to their hotel room for most of the day and stay for the ceremony and part of the dinner, but retreat to their room for the rest of festivities. Okay, didn't ask. You know what I'm saying? Like, if it's too expensive, don't go. And if you do go, just do what you gotta do for the wedding portion. Like, it really is like a didn't ask
Just tell me yes or no. We were taken aback because we were paying for everything. Food, drinks, parking. We were also paying for everyone's accommodation, a very nice lakeside hotel. Their biggest expense would be to pay for the gas for the 4-hour drive to the wedding and back. In parentheses, they have a car. They also complained about the dress code. In parentheses, we requested black tie attire, but they both own clothes that would fit the dress code, so they wouldn't have to buy new ones anyways. But they complained about that too. We read the message and basically told them that if coming would be so tiresome for them, it is better not to come. We said that we aren't mad at all. If someone can't make it or doesn't feel up to it, there are no hard feelings. But basically, we uninvited them. I know it doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things budget-wise, but each guest cost us around $600, and I didn't feel like spending $1,200 on people that didn't even want to be there. They are now angry at us and refuse to speak to us, and we were thinking that maybe we were a bit harsh. Are we the a-holes? First off, they missed the RSVP deadline, right? Like, what? I think that's good enough, is if you just go, hey man, you kind of already missed it by a month. Go fuck yourself. You can't be like, oh my God, okay, we're gonna come to your wedding, but let me write out a long list of shit that I have a problem with your wedding that also kind of doesn't make any sense because this sounds like the cheapest possible wedding you could probably ever go to. Like, at that point, I'm gonna be like, all right, so you're not going. I don't want you here. If it's that stressful for you, why would you even want to fucking go? Also, this is a bad friend thing for you to do. I guess OP never got into the relationship that them and their partner have with this couple, but they don't sound like people you want to keep around. Like, are these your best friends? Are they just kind of acquaintances? Are they family members? I don't know. I've just never understood this chat. I'm like, when I go to a wedding, my number one priority is to not stress out the bride and groom. You know what I'm saying? So they are complaining just to complain. That's what it feels like. Also complaining just to complain when, like, you missed the deadline. If you want to go to this wedding, you should be on your knees begging and pleading that they can make it work, and they're willing to make it work for you because you're a month fucking late. Like, to me, that's probably the most disrespectful part of this whole thing is like, dude, if you're gonna say some fuck shit, at least say some fuck shit on time. A month late is just like wound salt. Like, yeah, show up, shut up, eat your free food, and get your free booze if you want. Like, that's how I feel too. First off, if you get invited to a wedding and you don't want to go, just don't fucking go. You could just make some shit up. If you're not that close with the people and you just don't want to go, don't fucking go. It's not that big of a deal. If you do want to enjoy some cutie love and a little bit of free food, free booze, a little vacation with your partner, like, fucking go for it. I think if you have friends that you have to hound to get an answer about if they're gonna come to the most important day of your life, you should probably just drop those friends, you know? Like, that's just a very disrespectful thing to do. Even further, like, if you have friends who don't meet the RSVP date, just be like, you're not going. Sorry, bro, have you seen how expensive this shit is? I'm guessing late minute ads for catering, for seating at a venue, for fucking napkins and chairs at a wedding, bro. Like, absolutely not. That is not the thing that you try to fuck around with last minute, because I'm sure the upcharge on that is crazy. I'd go to any wedding that fed me and gave me drinks for free. No, for real. Or two, like, I understand the travel aspect of it being really stressful, but it's like, if it's a 4-hour car ride, like, yeah, I think you should expect to go. If you're flying across the country, that's where I'm like, maybe. Listen, all I'm picking up here, this person's name is Stella from Vienna. I'm thinking Vienna, Australia. Or not Australia, Austria. My bad. If they're in Europe, I feel like there's even less of a reason not to go because y'all have a great public train system. You know what I'm saying? Like, shit, man, if you're in Europe complaining about going to somebody's wedding, like, I know what those train tickets cost and how easy that shit is. I thought you said Australia as a joke. Austria, Australia. Listen, all I'm saying is one of y'all should have changed your name. I don't know who copied who, but what you guys were like, let's just get rid of a couple of letters and fuck with this YouTuber. Am I the a-hole for giving my car a racist name? My little family has a tradition of naming our cars. Our last one was a Toyota Yaris, and the first thing my best friend said when he saw it was, it looks like a turtle. Naturally, we named it Yertle. 3 years ago, we got a RAV4. Carrying on the tradition, we named it Ravi. It was an obvious play on Rav, and it was fun and easy for our then 2-year-old child. I never gave it a second thought, but today when picking up my daughter from summer camp, she said, Mom, did you bring Ravi? Another mom overheard and said, oh, who's Ravi? I said, our car, but didn't elaborate because I was busy gathering my daughter's things. She kind of scrunched up her face and said, well, that's a choice. I laughed awkwardly and said something like, yeah, we have a weird family tradition of naming our cars. She replied, no, I meant calling it Ravi. As a privileged white person, I'd be embarrassed to tell people that.
I was honestly so caught off guard that I just finished packing up and left. Now it's been rattling around in my head. For context, my husband, daughter, and I are all white. The other mother was white as well. We live in a suburb of a large Canadian city. The area is still majority white, but there are plenty of families from many different cultural backgrounds. I genuinely value living in a diverse community and want to teach my daughter to respect and appreciate people from all cultures. I completely understand that Ravi is a very common South Asian name, but when we chose it, we were honestly just looking for a cute nickname based on RAV4. We've been calling the car Ravi for 3 years, and this is the first time anyone has ever reacted negatively. I mean, the fact that that is the case and that this is a white person complaining, I think you're good, dog. If this is genuinely disrespectful, I absolutely want to know and will stop using it. I'm just not convinced by one stranger's reaction. I'd especially love to hear from people from cultures where Ravi is a common name, or even better, from anyone actually named Ravi. I mean, I think it would only be racist if like the car was like brown or something like that, and the reason you were calling it Ravi was because of that reason. But like, to be honest, bro, the name that I call my RAV4 is way more offensive. I call my car the Rav Whore. Like, I wish I would have thought of a cuter name for my car like Ravi, but no, my brain went Rav Whore. A whore is driving it, so the car's got to be a whore too. In case it wasn't clear, the whore is me. Yeah, I don't foresee people in the comments being like, how dare you? Not the a-hole, this is performative self-righteousness. I think that's a great way to put it. Like, bro, come on. I feel like there's a lot of things to get offended of in this world, and this is just not one of them. Not the a-hole, I'm Indian and would not be offended at all if I heard you call your car that. Also, the correct pronunciation of the Indian name Ravi is Ravi. And an A letter in any South Asian language is pronounced as an sound, not ah or ah. So if I heard someone say Ravi as a play on RAV4, I wouldn't even think you're trying to actually say the name Ravi. Ignore this dumb person and also stay away from them. They seem quite judgy. Tell her it's short for ravioli. Chat, is ravioli racist against South Asian people? I think it is, chat. I think we gotta cancel ravioli. That's the only correct answer, chat. We have to do it. Sarby has a car kink, not clickbait. You right. You caught me, chat. I'm the JD Vance of cars. What JD Vance is to couches, I am to cars, all right? Don't get it twisted. Them tailpipes be gripping.